championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5 seconds.
The road to the 2016 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series at a shot at over $15,000 in prizes rolls through race 4 on the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series live tonight on LSRTV through iRacing and iRacing Live from Fontana, California. Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the virtual AutoClub Speedway. For the second year in a row, we go Pro Series racing in Fontana in a virtual LSRTV broadcast booth tonight alongside myself, Evan Pasocco, joined by Andy Kessler and Justin Rose, now topside. Brian Macklin also along with us as our driver analyst tonight, Cisco Scaramuza. Keeping track of the pit lane down this evening, and as always, LSRTV's executive producer, Laura Lawson, in a production trailer, pushing the buttons and getting us on air tonight. Not sure about you guys, Andy. It sounds like a pretty pro booth team we got going on, and we're about to see the pro drivers take to the track, the best of the best on the sim, take on California tonight. It's the Fontana 200, and we're talking about a 9-race championship with a drop week, so after tonight, unofficially, going to be at halfway.
Yeah, unofficially at halfway, Evan, and yes, we are stacked up here in the booth, and this competition is stacked down on the track here tonight. Yeah, we're looking at, after tonight, halfway through the season, the guys to be watching, obviously, Evan, we're going to have to keep a close eye in the next few weeks, are not so much the guys at the top of the standings that are looking to win this championship, but the guys sitting there hovering around 15th through 25th place, because they all want that top 20 spot that'll get them into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series next season. So a lot of things happening at the top of the standings and in the middle of them.
And Justin, this racetrack, just like a Michigan, it's 2 miles, a big D-shaped oval. Second largest track we'll see on the season on the oval side of things. You got Daytona coming up later on. This is a very unique racetrack, though, to drive at. The drivers are expecting a single lane group down at the bottom. It's going to make passing very difficult with a tight condition as you take a look at some of the track facts for this Auto Club Speedway. But we have been surprised so far this season with these new dynamic track surfaces compared to what these races were like last year and what they have been this year, so we could still be surprised tonight.
That very well may be the case. The early reports say that it's just going to be one lane on the bottom. If you make a mistake, you'll find yourself back about 10 spots from where you were. As far as that goes, I've really been surprised all year long with the dynamic track models. I mean, we've seen multi-grooves come into play at Homestead last week, and we've seen the same thing happen at Texas, and I really expect to see nothing different. I mean, will we see the craziness that was the Sprint Cup Series here at Auto Club? Probably not, but as far as that goes, I mean, you know, it's really anybody's guess, and we'll find out once the green flag drops.
Brian, as our driver analyst tonight, Brandon Schmidt won 1 week ago at the Homestead of Miami Speedway to Joey Israelson, Alan Bose, Jacob Harberts, and Sasha Wessler inside of the top 5. Ryan Borges, Shane Doherty, Justin Trombley, Andrew Fayash, and Josh Berry inside of the top 10. A lot of guys talking that they are looking forward to this race, and these drivers at this moment in the middle of a qualifying session. What would you be looking at as a driver to really focus on tonight?
I think getting across the bumps is going to be the most important part because you have to be able to get across those bumps smoothly if you want to have a good handling car. And the problem with this track here is it's going to be bumpy down the straightaway. It's not just going to be bumpy through the corners. You're going to be dealing with those bumps throughout the entire lap. You're not going to have any break from it. So it's going to be a handful for these drivers tonight to get across those bumps smoothly and get through the corners really good. This is a momentum-based racetrack as well, so they're going to have to make sure they keep the cars wound up and get a good run off the corner. With these long straightaways here at Fontana, they can't afford to have a bad exit to the corner because it's going to kill them all the way down the straightaway and really affect their lap times. And I'm sure that's what you're seeing a lot of these guys focus on in qualifying. They know if they don't get a good run off the corner, it's going to kill their lap.
We'll go trackside of the pit lane in a moment, but first we'll take our LSRTV lap guide for Fontana, and we'll go on board as Kyle Putz pilots the number 12 Brian Blackford Racing GTR Simulator StimSim X4 Diffusion around for some practice laps.
This is Kyle Putz, crew chief. Raul Alves filling in for Kyle this week as he lost his voice at the AutoClub Speedway, the site of round 4 of the iRacing.com Pro Series. Tonight they'll be taking on the 2-mile D-shaped oval as they'll be running 100 laps equaling to 200 miles. We're going to go ahead and get off the pits here as quickly as we possibly can, especially with minimizing our tire spin. One of the things that the drivers were actually told in the drivers meeting is to stay on the bottom of the apron throughout turns 1 and 2 when leaving the pits. And they can merge onto the track after passing the last sprint sign. So we're going to go ahead and merge onto the track here. The really fun thing about this place is how bumpy it is just throughout the whole entire track. So I do expect to see cars jumping up and down everywhere. We're going to go ahead and run 3 and 4 here on the high line to go ahead and get our speed maximized. Go to the very bottom here, right next to this white line. So going into turn 1, normally off the gas, beginning here of the safer barrier. So off the gas, let the car go to the bottom, on throttle slowly. And then we're already on the gas, full throttle, just let the car kind of drift up the track here. As we go into turns 3, I do normally use the sprint sign to get off as a lifting point. So I'm off the gas now, let the car roll through the bottom here. On the gas all the way 100%. Let the car kind of drift up the track. Now as the track goes on and we start seeing the second groove kick in, I will expect to see a lot of the drivers running the second lane. I'll kind of be surprised if we don't see multi-groove racing today. So we're going to go ahead and run the second lane here. Kind of come off the corner. We're expecting pit stops to go every 30 to 35 laps, but would not be surprised if we see drivers stretching it out. We're going to go ahead and pit next time by. One of the biggest key factors for tonight's race that I'm actually going to have to keep a big eye on for Kyle are going to be restarts. With the track being 75 feet wide, 15 feet wide here on the bottom of the apron, I think restarts are going to be absolutely crazy. We're going to see drivers going 3 and 4 wide. Especially with fresh tires going into 1 and 2. I know some drivers will actually be able to keep the car full throttle. So I do expect restarts to be absolutely crazy tonight, as it's a very key opportunity for drivers to pick up spots. So we're going to go ahead and make our pit entrance here. Kind of keep the car to the very bottom. Try to maximize our pit entry, 55 miles an hour. With this being a 100-lap race, I do expect just to see two green flag pit stops. Depending on how the drivers do tonight, this track is actually wide enough. I would not be surprised at all if this race actually does go green from very beginning to the very end. It'll be very exciting to see how the race actually turns out to be. Like I said, I do expect to see a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing throughout the whole race, but we'll just have to wait and see. But thank you everybody for watching.
A big thanks to Kyle Putz for showing us what the drivers are going to be dealing with tonight for 100 laps down pit side with Cisco Scaramouza. Cisco, we see what they're going to be doing out there during green. What's the pit strategy looking like for this Fontana 200?
We're really looking at a pit window of about 40 to 45 laps. These guys, they're mainly going to be around that inside line, so I don't think you're going to see a lot of, tire degradation from different people. It's probably all going to look similar, but about 40 to 45 laps on a tank of fuel here at AutoClub.
And Andy, 3 races down into tonight's event. We still sit with 6 to go. Outside of this, just 5. There are 1 drop week in these opening 7 races. At this moment, though, it is Alan Bowes who leads them all. 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s in 3 starts. He has done exceptionally well. He has a total of 125 points. He's your championship leader with none of those drops factored in, over top of Josh Berry, Dylan Duval, Brandon Schmidt, and Timmy Hill inside the top 5.
Yeah, those guys, obviously, the top 3 are the top 3 because of consistency. They don't have wins on the season yet, so that's kind of a big surprise, but it just shows you that the top 5 finishes, the top 10s, those are what's going to get it done and keep you up there in the front. It's going to be pretty tough when if they keep this up, when their drop week might be a 4th place finish.
The qualifying session just now drawing to a close, and before we get set to get underway, let's make some fantasy picks. Our LSRTV fantasy scoring has been dominated so far. Jacob Seelman with 118 points, Cisco Scaramouza with 101. Brian, you're tied with him. Justin, you've got 80 points so far for our driverliness, and then me and Andy, we're at the bottom with 7 and 66 points. So let's talk about who's going to get the job done tonight. Dylan Duval is the driver that I'm going to go with. Had a very good run here last season. Andy, who are you thinking about for this one?
I'm going to take one of the consistent guys that's been there up front all 3 races, Alan Bowes. I think he's going to get it done here tonight.
I'm going to go with the 88 of Josh Berry. I think he can get it done, and to be honest with you, he's got what it takes. He's shown it all season long.
I'm going with last week's winner, Brandon Schmidt. I think he's going to carry that momentum and win again here tonight.
And I'm going to go with the winner here last season, which is going to be Brad Davies.
And Jacob Seelman also picks Alan Bowes, so alongside with Andy. Other than that, not a whole lot of people are on the same page here. It should be a fun 100 laps, so we're glad to have you with us on LSRTV. We will step away as we bring the LSRTV pre-race show to a close. When we come back, we'll go to the national anthem and the starting grid. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series.
But here comes Gregor Hutu into Canada corner for the final time. Just 2 corners left to go before he finally makes himself a triumphant return back to victory lane. He has led 38 laps of this event here today, and Gregor Hutu once again is a winner. Gregor Hutu will work himself through the Cobra Parabolica. He will claim his 46th victory in iRacing.com World Championship competition. Gregor Hutu, for the 2nd race in a row, reigns supreme.
The one thing that I think is the most important is we've been racing this Ground Championship Series for quite some time now, a very long time even at that, and he is the only driver to have ever won a professional road race at Watkins Glen.
But there is nothing that could crack that finish #1 Team Redline driver. Gregor Hutu worked himself out the final corner, and just as he did in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, in 2015, Hutu once again wins at Watkins Glen.
Hutu will come across the line and takes the win for round 7 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Here he comes now, just 3 corners left to go, into Brooklands for the final time, into Luffield for the final time. Never, ever say that Gregor Hutu is beaten, because he just comes back bigger, he comes back stronger, he wins round #9 of the World Championship Series, 49th win of his career. If you're the world's greatest sim racing driver, you can do it with your statements on the road courses. Do it when it matters. out of the final corner for the final time. Number 50 for Gregor Hutu out of the final corner. At the top of the broadcast, we said if Hutu could win here today, he could well cement himself as the championship favourite. Gregor Hutu, the number 1 machine, back to victory lane, win number 51. Hutu is inching closer rapidly to his 5th, and yes, I say that correctly, his 5th World Championship. Out of the last stop chicane comes the number 1 Team Red Line driver, Gregor Hutu, will win here at Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Yes, it may be behind a computer with a steering wheel and a set of pedals, but for these drivers, this is as close as they may ever get to racing in real life. It will be Gregor Hutu coming past the line. He is a 5-time world champion. Gregor Hutu wins the championship one more time. He is the greatest driver in the history of open wheel racing here at iRacing.com, and dare I say it, he is the greatest open wheel champion in the history of sim racing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
A big thanks to Jaden Berkey for performing tonight's national anthem. Warm-up now done as well. Let's set the field for the Fontana 200. Take a look at the LSRTV starting grid. You talk about a dominating performance by over a 1/10 of a second. Pole to the driver of the 77, Andrew Fayash III, with a 36.247, leads us to the green flag tonight. Outside on the front row goes to the driver of the 23 in Brandon Hoff. Ryan Lowe will start tonight in 3rd, 4th position for the 55 of Nick Furler, and Blake Bryant in 5th.
Starting 6, race 1 winner Cody Bias. In the 7th spot will be the 46 of Dylan Rafferty. Brad Davies in the 11 car starts 8th. 9th goes to Alan Bowes, and the 90 of Nicholas Johnston starts 10th.
11th to the 72 of Paul Kashiba. 09, David Rattler starts 12th. 13th to 92 of Jeff Ramsdale. 82, Alex Warren starts 14th. 15th goes to 99 of Tamu Ivonen.
Robin Williams, Billy Price, Jacob Harbert, Mitchell Hunt, and Timmy Hill go through 20th, and then Brandon Schmidt, Ryan Borges, Josh Berry, Thomas Davis, and Logan Clampett through 25th.
26 is Trey Edson, Michael Johnson, Sasha Wessler will be 28th. Jason Jacoby and Greg McKinney round out the top 30. Joshua Lawton, Tyler Laughlin, Shane Doherty, Dylan Duvall, and Adam Gilliland will round out 30 through 35.
36-17 of Justin Trombley. The 03 of Dylan Jones starts 37. Joey Israelson starts 38th. The 39 spot goes to the 50 of Alex Scribner. 93, Byron Daly 40th. Stephen Gilbert 41st. Rob Ackley 42nd. And Kyle Putz in the 12. He'll start shotgun 43rd.
And lights already off on top of the iRacing.com American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car. So with that, we're set to do battle 100 laps around this 2-mile D-shaped oval. 200 miles start to finish in tonight's Fontana 200, and we're glad to have you with us for the ride on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Pace car going to make that sharp left-hand turn. Let's see what Andrew Fayash can do. He'll be the control car at a turn number 4. American Ethanol green flag flies. We're underway from Fontana, round 4 of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series underway down to turn 1, and your race leader Andy enjoying the clean air. Behind him, second on back. Already people jumping all over of each other. Ryan Loda second in a big run to the bottom. He wants to lead at a 2.
Yeah, he's not going to waste any time going for that lead. Now down the backstretch, he's going to clear Fayash as they move down the backstretch. Here comes a 23 now of Brandon Hoff. He's going to make his move to the inside of Fayash in turn number 3. That's going to work. Now the battle right now is for 4th as the 0-2 of Blake Bryant now trying to make his way around Fayash off 4.
That's where the fun is. Behind that number 23 car, Brandon Hoff started in second spot. That put him on the outside of the front row. Dropped back to third, retook over that number 2 position after Fayash found himself back in the clutches of the field. And in front of that 77 is the first side-by-side fight. Cody Bias to the inside, but contact behind them. The 77 of Andrew Fayash up the hill after that car actually looked like it just got loose. 55 close on the left rear applying the pressure. And outside of the top 2, Justin, nobody wants to settle down yet.
Not just yet. The 21 of Alan Bowes looks to the inside of the 46 of Dylan Rafferty. The 55 of Nick Fuller. He's involved in this battle as well. They're door-to-door across the stripe right now. Edge to the 46 of Rafferty as the 55 of Fuller tries to go around the outside, try to get an edge on the 21 of Bowes, but Bowes running that bottom line. So far, the preferred line here at the Auto Club Speedway as he's going to start to make his way around the 46 of Rafferty. Bowes already from 9th up to 5th.
We saw our pole sitter Andrew Fayash fall back to 14th position, Brian, at the start-finish on after just 2 complete laps at Fontana. But we talked about these race cars being tight. Well, I talked with that 77 before the start of this race. He said that these cars might get a little bit snappy loose in those opening laps. Something's not happening with him because he's going way back now to looks like almost outside of the top 17. He's getting blown by on the bottom.
Yeah, that car looks like it is very unhappy right now. He's really struggling to get the car to turn into the corner and just get it to do anything at all through the corner. It just looks like he's got a lot of work to do on that car. He had a very impressive qualifying lap, but clearly his car is not that strong in the race. He is struggling really bad here early on. It looks like he's going to fall outside the top 20 the way he keeps falling back right now. So they got a lot of work to do if they're going to get him back up towards the front and get him back in contention.
Cody Bias, the number 27 in Fitted Creative Solutions Chevrolet. He'll take over the number 2 spot. Makes the pass on the 23 of Brandon Hoff. Hoff falls back to 3rd, and it's Bias from P6 to P2 in the opening 4 laps so far. Paul Kashiba, one of our bigger movers, also the number 72 iSuperspeedway.com Chevrolet. Behind a side-by-side fight right now for P5. It sees the 55 of Furler topside on the bottom, the 20 of Alan Bowes, but Paul Kashiba 11th to 7th. He cracks the top 10.
He does. Alan Bowes was running the top side just for a couple laps there. Finally gets down to the bottom after the 55 got around him. Nick Furler. Now they're going to swap positions right now. Bowes with the advantage on that bottom side as they come to the start-finish line. He's got about half a car length right now. Kashiba still running that high side currently. Has no room on the bottom as Brad Davies now makes his way to the bottom side in turn number 1.
Bash continues to fall now, P28, and there is a huge hornet's nest. 09 machine, problems down in turns 1 and 2. There's the caution flag. Problems for David Rattler, and a big accident behind his car, really torn up down the back straightaway. And at lap number 6, an early caution flag, and that all started with David Rattler. Justin, we were just talking about these cars being loose early. David Rattler loose, and he stepped it up the hill. Eventually, he ran out of room, and things get tight off of turn 2. He got absolutely pounded by the 17 of Justin Trombley.
Yeah, the Gale Force Toyota of Justin Trombley with big damage on that machine, as well as the 09 of David Rattler. Just no luck for the 09 of David Rattler the last couple of weeks here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. He just loses the handle going up the hill. These crew chiefs had to make big adjustments from practice to the race, so we're going to find out which crew chiefs have made the right selections and which guys have not, and obviously the 09 of David Rattler finds himself on the hook here in the early going.
The driver's talking about a very wide fuel window. Some drivers saying 35 to 40, other drivers saying 40 to 45, but the common denominator is they want track position because you don't want to be in what we just saw, and that'll be tame in comparison to how much of this racetrack these guys will use if we get a restart inside of the final 20, inside of the final 10 laps. However, this one has the pit lane open at lap number 7. Race leader Ryan Lowe ducks to the apron. He'll bring that Chevrolet down for service in front of you, Cisco.
Yeah, right now the whole field looks like it's going to come down pit road. We do have someone who does duck off, not going to pit this time. I'm looking to see who that is. I do see, I believe that was... that was Dylan Duvall. There he goes. He decided not to pit this time, so Duvall's going to stay out here. Meanwhile, the rest of the field will come down. I'm going to guess we might see a couple two-tire calls. As you mentioned, track position's so key here at AutoClub. But also Tyler Laughlin also going to stay out, as well as Joey Israelson and Greg McKinney and Joshua Lawton, Mitchell Hunt. All those guys stay out. Meanwhile, a two-tire call by Jeff Ramsdell. He's going to be the first car off pit road. Behind him, Adam Gilliland, and there goes the rest of the field.
And everybody else from behind, Ryan Lowe, Brandon Hoff Company, Alan Bowes, Cody Bynes, the next 4 drivers off 4 fresh tires in Sunoco race fuel to get back out there. Still shy of lap number 10. These guys running half the distance of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Auto Club 400 with 100 laps tonight. It's going to be a fun one. These drivers said that this is a race that is open to seeing some strategy, Andy, and we're seeing it already early. Track position being key. It is difficult to pass, and you wouldn't believe that statement if you saw what just happened in those opening laps. But after maybe 10, 15 laps, if we do see a green flag run tonight, the cars get very, very tight, and they want to get as close to that white line as they can. No touch it, though, because that difference in banking to the flat will really upset those race cars. But there's a lot of windows open for opportunity here as far as what these drivers want to do. Mitchell Hunt stays out, so he'll get a lap led, and it looks like he's actually going to keep that car out there. So this is going to be fun. No tires, 2 tires, 4 tires, and we'll line them back up, and it looks like we'll have about 10 laps in the bank by the time we do it.
Yeah, and I think, only about 6 laps or so on the green flag on these tires. I think that will make a pretty big difference for some of these guys. So the faster cars that decided to come down, like Ryan Lowe, who led the field down pit road, I think those guys back there are going to get pretty anxious here on this get-go. It's going to be pretty interesting as the field gets double-filed here. A bunch of guys driving through the pits there. The 8 of Gilliland, I saw him just go through also. So a lot of guys deciding to take the track position at this point. It all depends, I guess, is how hard they were running those tires on those first 5-6 laps.
It's an interesting time to make the strategy call, Brian. If you're going to do it, though, you might want to find out it doesn't work now as opposed to later. What are your thoughts on the no tires and 2 tires?
Yeah, I like this call. We saw it last week at Homestead, too. Some guys trying 2 tires at the beginning of the race to see what happened and saw that it didn't work in their favor, and I think this is a good call again. We're only 9 laps into this race. They have plenty of time. There's still 90 laps to go, so if this doesn't work out, they can just gather it up and get back to where they're at. For some of these guys, they were in the middle of the pack, and like with Adam Gillen, he was back around the 30th position, so he can't really fall that far back. I can't see him falling that far back. He should be okay. This could be a good call for these guys.
We get set to go back green. The lights on the pace car are off. We'll have 9 laps down, 91 to go. That'll be a Mitchell Hunt and Joshua Lawton front row.
And as the pace car starts to make its way out of turn number 4, the American Child Cancer Association pace car gets ready to come down to the safety of pit road and does the field in the hands of Mitchell Hunt. And he's on the loud pedal. The American Ethanol green flag back in the air once again here at the Auto Club Speedway. Before we get Joshua Lawton doesn't get quite the good restart as well. The 20 of Greg McKinney going to try to take advantage. He's going to work to the inside of Lawton now in turn 1, trying to bring the 25. It's Joey Israelson along with him, and up on the high side all by his lonesome is Joshua Lawton as the top 4 or 5 cars get down to the bottom.
Side by side for second, down the backstretch to turn number 3. It's the inside lane for Greg McKinney to get the job done. Behind him, it's the 40 of Lawton. Dylan Duvall to the inside of the racetrack, the 42. He follows the 25, the 38 sideways, Ryan Lowe. That car spinning down into the grass at a turn number 4. He will hang on to that race car and get it back onto the apron. He loses a lot of time, though, and therefore is going to lose a lot of positions on track. That was the highest running driver on 4 tires, and he didn't make it through 3 and 4.
I think he just clipped the apron right there, Evan, is what happened to him, trying to get the most he can on that bottom side to get around some of these guys. But in the meantime, he gets it gathered up. He's going to get back out on the track, trying to salvage what he can, and now he's going to have to play some strategy games to get himself back into contention here as the field really starting to move things up right now. The 23 of Brandon Hoff, he's the first one now on 4 tires, and right in tow is the 21 of Alan Bowes. Those guys now making their way inside of Adam Gilliland in the number 8 machine on the high side. So those guys with the 4 tires starting to make things work now as Gilliland's trying to fight back. He's going to push up, and he's going to lose this battle right now as the field gets off turn 4.
Plenty of 2 and 3 wide outside of the top 20, outside of the top 30, but all eyes up inside the top 10 where a couple of guys, as you mentioned, topside are making moves. Some guys going backwards up there. The 40 of Josh Lawton lost another spot. He goes to P5. It's Dylan Duvall up to 4th, and you can see that car stepping up the hill, so he'll be at the mercy of Brandon Hoff, who goes to the inside of the racetrack. So the 23 car going to make it a side-by-side fight for P6 at the start-finish line. Behind him, the 51 and the 21, Tyler Laughlin outside, Alan Bowes on the bottom. We're starting to see those 4-tire calls make their way inside of these single-digit running spots.
And as we look for a little bit further back towards the bottom side of the top 10, it's going to be a battle on the racetrack right now for what's going to be the 7th position as the 21 of Alan Bowes works to the inside of the 40 of Josh Lawton. Those two door-to-door just about all of this lap, and as Bowes really seizes the advantage now out of turn 4, it's 3 wide behind them. The 27 of Cody Bias and 51 of Tyler Laughlin all going to be involved in that. They get it sorted out single file coming down towards the end of the front chute. And as that happens there, the 40 of Josh Lawton still being freight trained by everybody on 4 tires. Move Tyler Laughlin now up to the 7th spot on the racetrack as there's 3 wide behind them. Bias with a big move.
Bias goes to the bottom, caution flag flies, and for the second time tonight, we slow him down at lap number 14. Dylan C. Jones is parked up against the outside of retaining wall in turns number 1 and 2. So the 0-3 machine goes into turn number 1, and it looks like just made contact with Jason Jacoby. That was a fight on the racetrack for P34, and it looks like maybe a little bit of netcode involved in that one as well, Andy. As we take a look at the LSRTV replay, it sent that 0-3 machine sideways in the middle of the corner. A lot of guys immediately behind that accident may have been involved. A pretty good job for most of them getting around it, though, and limiting it to a 1 or 2 car accident.
Yeah, a lot of guys doing a real good job, like you said, pulling down to the inside. That's a product, I think, of what we're going to see here a lot tonight is the cars tending to get a little tight, pushing up into the corner. So that looks like exactly what happened right there in that incident. 2 guys just fighting for that same real estate going into turn number 1, and ended up costing them.
No shortage of action inside of the opening 15 laps from the AutoClub Speedway. Mitchell Hunt, your race leader, from 19th position. Brian, the strategy call, though, of staying out on 2 tires or staying out on no tires for those guys that didn't even elect to come down to the pit lane has worked out good for some, not all. You look at 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on track right now. Joey Israelson, Greg McKinney, and Dylan Duvall. They started 38th, 30th, and 34th. And now with another quick caution, everybody back down to the pit lane. If they don't lose 30 spots in the next 20 seconds, it's a win. So back down to the pit lane, second caution, and second swing of stop, Cisco.
Yep, everyone going to come down pit road right now. A couple cars that chose to stay out there is going to be the 99 of Timu Ivonen, I should say. And he's going to stay out, as well as Nick Furler. He's going to stay out. And one other car decided to stay on track. I'm trying to get the number right now. In the meantime, everyone coming down pit road, it's going to be Thomas Davis. He's the 3rd car out pit who did not pit, but everyone coming down. I got to say, Brandon Huff, he's kind of all alone down towards the end of pit road. He's got a great stall right there, not a lot of cars around him. But in the meantime, Hunt's going to beat everyone out, and it's basically just a big wad of cars as they come out of pit road.
I think 2 wide, at least a couple of rows deep as they come back off for the pit lane. So Mitchell Hunt does lead the drivers off of pit road that are serviced. 3 drivers stay out. We mentioned it's Thomas Davis, Timu Ivonen, and Nick Furler. So the strategy continues to be immense. Now we're at the point, though, and Brian, it's difficult to kind of gauge what this race is going to look like because the drivers, again, said at the beginning it's going to be hard to pass. The cars are going to be tight, and once you throw them out there with 42 other guys, there's a lot of passing going on. It's a very wide racetrack. We've only seen short stints, so they're utilizing every single inch of this racetrack, and as well, the cars have been rather loose. But at this point, everybody coming down to the pit lane, with the exception of those 3 that stayed out, they would be able to make it now from this point to the end on 1 additional stop if they elected to go with that strategy, assuming that this race may go green.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and for these three guys that stayed out here, I'm not sure this is going to work as well as it did for the guys that stayed out on the most recent caution. There was many more cars that stayed out the last time, which gave them a much bigger gap over the guys that were on fresh tires. Now, these guys have the guys that are on fresh tires in 4th position, right behind them, so they're not going to have that cushion between them and the cars that are on fresh tires. This isn't going to work as well for them, I don't believe. I think you're going to see Mitchell Hunt be the big winner in this situation. He got out to a pretty good sized lead until that caution came out. He's got a fast car once he gets the clean air on the nose, and I think with having fresher tires, he's going to get right back to the point pretty quick.
It's 100 laps at the AutoClub Speedway, Justin. That's a long way when you're talking to mileage. That's 200 miles start to finish. But lap-wise, I mean, it's not that long of a race. We've had 2 quick cautions, and we're almost already at the 1/5 mark. I'm somewhat surprised at how aggressive everyone's being. We've been talking about the battles inside the top 10, the top 15. What we have not seen, but we've been keeping an eye on, is that every single restart for 20th on back, 30th on back, as I had mentioned before, is those guys even going 2 and 3 wide. Everybody is trying to get everything they can out of these restarts so far tonight.
Yeah, and that's really been the case, and it's not just, even that far down in the pack. It's right up here towards the front, even these guys trying to make 2 and 3 wide moves, and in some of the more extreme cases, an attempt at 4 wide, and it really remains to be seen if that's going to be the case all night long, because these drivers are probably starting to get the itch and really want to settle down for a long green flag run. I mean, they've only done about 7 laps per stint on tires, so really, nobody's been able to show their hand, and everybody's just been jockeying for position. I mean, several 2-tire calls, a couple no-tire calls already here at the front of the field, and really, it's looking for guys that started mid-pack that were racing their way up, that showing some speed already in the short stints. Like Josh Berry in the 88 started 23rd. He's going to restart 21st, and he's climbed himself up towards around that 15th spot each time before that caution flag comes out. But each time he's taken 4 tires, and fallen back to around where he started. So really, if we can get a long green flag run going, it's really anybody's guess. And he's one of the guys I'm really keeping my eye on to really go to the front, because he's shown that speed already in just 7 laps.
The lights off on top of the pace car. We get set to go back green. Coming up this week on LSRTV, this Friday, it is the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series iSuper Chase Preview Show on LSRTV and iRacing Live at 10 o'clock Eastern. Join the Chase competitors as they get set to go racing for a championship next Friday night. So that this Friday, it is the preview show on LSRTV, part of iSuper Speedway every Friday night, part of our Friday night doubleheaders that we have here. Sim racing all throughout the week. Tonight, just one of them. So Nick Furler finds himself topside. Team Uivonen, going to be one of the favorites, I'm sure, going into Watkins Glen in 1 week's time. Outside on the front row, and the 83 to the bottom, Thomas Davis. Your drivers with nothing, and everybody else rather unanimous 4 tires for the rest of the field. That is 4th through 41st of the drivers that still sit on the lead lap. The American Childhood Cancer Organization, the pace car, going to make that sharp left-hand turn once again. Get down, get out of the way. What strategy does the 55 pull? He's the control car. He's got from now to the exit of the go zone. He's on it. Green flag flies. Back and away we go. He'll be cleared down to turn number 1. A good jump on the bottom for Thomas Davis, who wants to put up a fight for second.
Yeah, Nick Furler kind of really jumbled up the field there on the restart. That's going to give him a 3-car length lead right now in through turns 1 and 2. The battles for that second spot, though, the 83 of Thomas Davis, a good restart. Here comes Mitchell Hunt now looking to the inside. He's the first one on 4 fresh tires right now. That last pit or caution flag where they decided to stay out, that was a good call for those guys. They were the ones that definitely got the best advantage to that call of staying out right now. And now he's going to look 3 wide now, coming to the stripe. That's the battle for seconds. They head back to turn number 1.
Had an accident on the restart there. The 12 machine, Kyle Putz, checked up. He got hit in the back by the 54 of Jacob Harberts. Both of those cars damaged. Putz in this lap to get service. The 54 stays out. All of this on well behind that battle for second on back. That's just the factor, and as I just mentioned, but 41 guys in the lead lap. That's still 20 cars of lead lappers going at it on a restart. A checkup happens when that control car mixes up the strategy a little bit, and you get some contact. The top 3 guys on the outside of the racetrack right now, the 20, the 25, and the 42. They all run at the moment outside of the top 5. Oh, contact! The 27 gets shunted into the grass. Cody Bias is going to be heavily damaged on the right side of his Chevrolet. He'll bring that car back up and get it under control, but he got absolutely cross-checked by the 25. It was trying to go middle for Joey Israelson. Contact there, Justin, no caution, but that is a huge hit for the 27.
Yes, it is, and a little bit further back, I mean, just in front, actually, where that incident was of this main pack here, several drivers duking it out side by side from about 4th or 5th, and you see the replay on your screen what happened to the 27 of Cody Bias. The 21 of Alan Bowes is right in the center of all this. He's got drivers behind him. The 25 of Joey Israelson, who was the culprit of setting Bias through the grass. The 20 of Greg McKinney is well involved there. 42 of Dylan Duvall with a strong run coming back up through the field. Started 34th, up to 9th on some pit strategy and going towards the front. He's trying to get around that 20 of Greg McKinney. He's door to door. He's going to settle that battle now getting into turn 3.
And he gets the one spot, and he wants 2. He dives it into the inside of that 20 of Israelson, who we just mentioned made the contact there at a turn number 4 across the front stretch there. 25 left side damage. Doesn't look like it's hindering him all that much, although AutoClub, very much an aerodynamically sensitive track. And that 42 Duvall was not able to make the pass. He slides up in line. That opens up the door. So Greg McKinney with the crossover back down to the bottom. All of this happening for P8 on back. The top 2, though, set and sail 0.3 of a second between Nick Furler, P1, Mitchell Hunt, P2. And in the top 2, over a second in front of the 83 of Thomas Davis. Davis actually losing now that 3rd spot. Give it to Brandon Hoff, the 23, back to the podium after starting in 2nd.
Yeah, Brandon Hoff's been very strong all race long. We've seen that on all these restarts. 4 tires and fuel has been his strategy so far this race. They haven't wavered from that at all, and it's been paying off for him as far as the speed goes. That car is very fast tonight, and he's getting the job done right now. Thomas Davis, though, hanging tough with no tires. He stayed out on that last round of pit stops right there, so he's doing a really good job also able to stay up inside this top 5 right now. But he's got Alan Bowes that's breathing down his neck. While just behind Bowes, we got another side-by-side battle. The 25 now of Joey Israelson. He moves up into that 6th spot. So all these guys still making up ground, making some moves now here in the early on.
The next big hornet's nest behind the 90 of Nicholas Johnston, who at the start-finish on is 11th. Immediately behind him, the 20 side-by-side with the 11. And just behind, Josh Berry, the number 88 Speedco Chevrolet, going to go to the middle, pick up an additional spot. Josh Berry, along with Timmy Hill, the 2 drivers in this year's NASCAR Pro Series class that race in NASCAR's top 3 touring levels. And that 88 machine, Justin, doing pretty good since we went back green.
Yeah, I do believe he's going to refresh around to being +9 once he does indeed clear the 20 of Greg McKinney. So the 88 of Josh Berry really doing very well. He's riding the bumper of Brad Davies all the way up through the pack. And indeed, he is +9, and he's about ready to take another position away from the 55 and Nick Furler. And whoa, triple contact! Davies into Berry. Berry up the hill. Berry's going to save it, but not sure about Brad Davies. He does get it collected. And wrecking behind him, the 98 of Ryan Borges around.
The caution will fly, and this stems from something that happened at a turn number 4. The car that goes around to trigger the yellow, the number 98 Bart Competition Chevrolet of Ryan Borges. All of this, though, starts at a turn number 4. One car drifted up, catching the outside wall, and then as we were following along with that number 88 machine across the start-finish line, Josh Berry quickly approaching that 55 of Furler, and after that, Andy, that 55 got checked up. There was a big move by the 11 of Davies as he got close to the 55. Davies got sideways, trying to avoid that slow car topside. When he did that, the car drifted up, got into Josh Berry. You take a look at the replay.
Yeah, looking at that replay, and that actually started a couple laps before that with the 55. Actually got into the wall off turn number 4, Nick Furler, and that gave the lead to Mitchell Hunt. And since then, that damage was really hurting him badly. He was falling back through the field, and all these cars just started coming up on him, and it ended up causing a real big wreck. A lot of guys, a lot of good names, good drivers caught up in that one right there. So tough break for these guys, not even at the halfway point here.
2 laps to go, we pass 1/4 distance here at the Auto Club Speedway. Mitchell Hunt rides along the white line on the bottom of the racetrack and under the 3rd caution flag on the evening. Looks like the 3rd trip down to the pit lane for your race leader. Again, Cisco, down in front of you, Mitchell Hunt, the first car in.
Yeah, it looks like this time everyone's going to come down pit road. I think that caution did affect a lot of the people who are maybe thinking about staying out. But here everyone comes down pit road. I got to think we had a long enough green flag run where I think 4 tires is going to be the call here. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple 2-tire strategy calls. Right now, watching Mitchell Hunt, right sides are up on that car. They're going to go around to the left side now. No changes for him. Just going to head right back out there as they're waiting. He drops the car. He's gone. Right now, a little bit of a drag race behind him. And I believe that's Thomas Davis is racing Israelson and now the 99 of Yvonen. They're going to all race, and that's going to be a huge pack as they roll out. But Bias is actually going to beat that pack. But Mitchell Hunt, Brandon Huff, and Alan Bowes are your first 3 off pit road.
Dylan St. Jones stays out in the 03 Chevrolet. He's 9 laps down looking for a wave by. Timmy Hill, the first driver out of the pit lane. That number 1 Toyota did not enter his stall. That's a drive-through, and I would expect that he'd be coming down this next time. So Mitchell Hunt in the number 81, the first driver out with tires. He took 4 that time. We're going to step away for a brief moment past the 1/4 distance mark here in Fontana. Back for the restart in a moment. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series Fontana 200 on iRacing Live. Yeah.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone is just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warrior Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12 hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6 hour, several other races along there. And then of course the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real world racers, and they compete every December. Guys like Alex Gurney, Justin Wills.
We're back live at the virtual Auto Club Speedway. Lights off on top of the pace car, gearing up for our 3rd restart off of a caution flag tonight. It'll be coming with 30 laps down and 70 laps to go. Mitchell Hunt leading this race, and with those 3 yellows, safe to say that the caution-free race space on the Pro Series Bingo not going to be filled out tonight, Andy. These drivers were looking for that to be this race, to be very clean, a possibility of little to no yellows. So far, not the case, though.
No, it isn't. 3 cautions here in the early going, so a little bit of shakeup. This is about the time, though, where these guys, I think, will start settling down, get things underneath them the way it should be. I think the strategies for some of these guys like Mitchell Hunt, Thomas Davis, all those guys have done their strategy. They got themselves up front now, Now it's time to see what they can do right now. And for guys like Brandon Hoff and Alan Bowes, who started up towards the front, they're up front now. They all are on the same sequence now, all have 4 fresh tires. So this should make this restart here pretty good.
And that gives those guys that pulled that strategy card early a big boost. A couple of those guys from outside the top 30 still stay in top 10 or top 15 spots. It's Mitchell Hunt, though, from 19th on the grid. He's gone right away on the loud pedal, backing away at AutoClub Speedway. He's set sail over top of the 23 of Brandon Hoff. Hoff going to be able to come down and get second. Alan Bowes might challenge as the 21 seeks out a good race here tonight, running third at the moment. Behind him, side by side, the 83, the 25, and 3 wide, the 90 of Johnston to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets around Kashiba and Duval.
Yeah, it was a bold move right there for the 90 machine of Nicholas Johnston right there. He's working his way around the 99 right now, heading back into turn number 3. The 83 just ahead of him, Thomas Davis. We just talked about him. The strategy's all even keel now as they work off of turn number 4. He's got himself a battle right now. Johnston to the inside. Kashiba all over the back door, though, of the 90 machine. Give him a push down the front straightaway back into turn 1.
We said this was the second largest oval on the season. Daytona still to come. These guys, though, just about as tightly packed together in 1 and 2 as you would see on one of those restrictor plate racetracks. A lot going on just outside that of turn 2. 3 wide, though, car spinning behind these guys.
The 8 of Adam Gilliland just got punted down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to go all the way down to the last car on the lead lap. That's going to be 37th position on the racetrack as they run, and we'll get a replay for you up in just a few moments. Gilliland does bad luck for him as he was really trying to make his way up, and it was really 3 wide around him right there for the 46 of Rafferty, the 20 of Greg McKinney, all involved in that little melee, and they're going to come out the winners of that as the 8 of Adam Gilliland finally blends himself back up the last car on the lead lap.
And in all of that, 0 contact as Gilliland was sideways in the middle of that 3 wide. A great piece of driving by the 39 behind Michael J. Johnson to not get into him. At Adam Gilliland's GMercer.com, Toyota got sideways. He saved it, and everybody gets away from that one, luckily scot-free. We stay green up front. The battle inside of the top 10 now is Paul Kashiba. Top side the 25 of Joey Israelson with the advantage at the line. It's a fight for P4, and the 23 a little bit slow in, so it's going to be a challenge for third now. Brandon Hoff's RER Chevette Chevrolet top side, and that 72 of Paul Kashiba getting work done to the bottom.
The 72 of Kashiba works door to door with the 23 of Hoff, trying to bring along the 90 of Nicholas Johnston, along with the 25 of Joey Israelson, all there in a line right there. Hoff, the only car up on the top side, working side by side for position. Next car behind them side by side will be the 42 of Dylan Duval, the 83 of Thomas Davis. Both those two trying to race each other clean on the racetrack, almost collecting each other's doors and making donut marks on them here the last couple of laps. And Davis and Duval going really hard at it here at the back end of the top 10 as Davis going to win that battle, slides up in front of Duval as top 15, 20 cars or so on the racetrack, all single file.
And Mitchell Hunt in front of them all by half a second. Your race leader trying to pull some ground. Small challenge just inside the top 15. The 02 of Blake Bryant to the inside, trying to get a move on the 40 of Joshua Lawton. He will do so. Lawton not that good of a corner exit, so the 3 machine going to come in and challenge. That is Brandon Schmidt. The 6 machine of Trey Edson just behind as well wants to be a part of this fight. So goes from being single file, almost 3 wide to turn number 1. All of this for P14 on back. And now we're starting to see, as you get some green flag laps in the bottom of the racetrack, be that preferred lane to be, and that 40 car topside just can't get back to the throttle as soon as he would like, and it gives that inside a big advantage center off.
Yeah, it gives that inside line a real good advantage right now. As you can see, last week's winner, Brandon Schmidt, now working around the 40 machine of Joshua Lawton. He's going to clear him off of turn number 4 there. Now bring in the 6 of Trey Edson. He's going to try to make his way around there. So obviously the 40 car, just for some reason, that setup currently, he cannot keep that thing on the bottom right now. The car is, I guess, liking that second lane right now, and nobody is giving him even an inch to try to get onto the bottom, continuing to slide back for the 40 of Joshua Lawton.
And he started this race 31st. He got up here on a good strategy call. He's getting passed by guys, at least to this point, that outqualified him. Soon, though, Michael J. Johnson at 39 machine. That's a driver that started around where Lawton did. Outside the top 25, the 40 car sideways. He is going to get into the outside wall. Big accident across the front straightaway. Yellow flag is out. The 7, the 50 join the drivers involved. Caution at lap number 37. And just like that, we were following that 40, a Lawton Justin, going back on the outside of the racetrack. It got sideways, and he ran out of room, and for the second time in a row, the 88 of Josh Berry gets a piece of that, and then that 50 and the 7, the big drivers that are as well collected, that's Alex Scribner and Billy Price.
Yeah, very heavy damage on the right front of that machine. That's going to kill my fantasy pick for the night. And replay going up on your screen, you're just going to see that the, I believe it was the 93 of Byron Daly, got a piece of the 88 Josh Berry's front bumper coming out of the corner, and it hooked the 40 of Joshua Lawton. Big mess there out of 4, and unfortunately the 7 involved in the 50. That's Billy Price and Alex Scribner involved with that, and that puts us underneath our caution flag once again as we're about 12 laps or so from halfway.
And Brian, I would assume we'll see more pit action, I would think.
Oh yeah, you're definitely going to see these guys come down and get more tires on their cars. However, you might see some of these guys try to stay out. We've seen with the rash of cautions that we've had so far tonight that those guys can stay out and get the track position and actually be able to hold on to it for quite a while. They're able to stay up front. That's how Mitchell Hunt got the track position and got the race lead. He started 19th, and under that first caution, he stayed out and was able to get to the lead, and he stayed up front pretty much all night now. So I think you'll see some of these guys that are in the back that might want to get away from all this melee, might try to stay out here. And actually, the cars are about to head down to pit road, so Cisco, we're going to throw it on down to you to take care of this here.
Yep, right now a couple of cars looking like they may want to try and fake, but looks like most of the field is going to come down pit road this time. We did see a lot of fast cars in that accident, and I am seeing one car who decides to stay out. But right now, everyone else is going to come down pit road. Once again, I think we're going to be seeing 4 tires here. We've been out there for a while, and especially for those cars that went through the wreck, but there's always that strategy. People want track position, but I'm hearing it was Cody Bias was the one car that stayed out. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at the 72 of Paul Kashiba. Right side's going up on that car right now. They're going to go around to the left sides now and jack it up. Meantime, Brad Davies, he's also got some damage on the right front, so they're going to have to repair some of that. Meanwhile, Kashiba gets a great jump off pit road, but Adam Gilliland looks like he took 2, so he's going to be the first car out behind them. Kashiba going to be the next one to lead him out.
And a second glance at 8 machine does not take tires on the outside, so he will come back down, I would presume, on the next caution flag, or rather the next lap around. Cody Bias, though, does stay out in the number 27 Chevrolet. He'd take over the race lead, and it was Paul Kashiba, as we mentioned, that number 72 machine onto the pit lane. 4 tires and off, and a very good in and out for the driver that was in pit stall number 11. Doesn't really sound like a place that's going to give you a huge jump, but he'll be the first car on 4 tires.
Yeah, his crew gave him a really good stop right there. Just flat out beat the other guys off of pit road. His crew just on fire on that stop right there. And Paul Kashiba's been having himself a real dandy of a race here so far tonight. Kept himself out of trouble and struggled first couple of the races this season. But here at AutoClub seems like a good track, good fit for that driver.
Encourage you to join the conversation. Use the hashtag LSRTV on Twitter. Be in the conversation, to be involved, and maybe see your tweets come up live during the broadcast as we close in on the halfway point in AutoClub. It is 41 laps in the works right now, and we still have, at this point, 59 to go the next time by. This is a racetrack that has been now in this Pro Series schedule for its second season. We saw the first time it was used last year in the 2014-2015 campaign, Justin, and it was a very similar race that we're seeing right now that we saw 1 year ago to this point. A race where a lot of guys trying to get a lot on the restarts, and even that most recent one, longest green flag stretch we had seen all night. The top 10, the top 15 got single filed out, but behind them, they still hadn't gotten things organized. The winner last year, Brad Davies. Well, so far in tonight's race, Brad Davies running in 31st position with a damaged race car after starting inside the top 10. So if he's looking to repeat, he needs something to go his way.
He's going to need a lot of help. He's already got some damage on that number 11, and really, after a couple of incidents, I'm sure Davies is just going to try to ride it out and try to go to the front from there. But, with it being such a big track and clean air being such a huge advantage, I really have to say, you may want to try to lay back, but really, with the way the race is going, caution after caution, yellow fever basically reigning supreme, he's going to have to try to be aggressive, and that's kind of the contrary to what may be the best route to put him up front.
Lights still on top of the pace car at this juncture. They should come off this time. By, again, still at a point where with about 58 laps to go, when we do go back green, not good enough on fuel quite yet, but based on what we've seen, it looks like this race may continue at a stop-and-go pace as it progresses. However, it is not uncommon to see yellows early, green flag stretch in the middle, and then a caution flag late. Maybe, Andy, these yellows just go out a little bit longer than we would normally expect. There's still plenty of time for these guys to get in an entire green flag stretch when you're talking about 40 to 45 laps on fuel.
Yeah, and when you're talking 50 laps, 55 laps when we go green here, Evan, that's a lot of time here at this racetrack. 2 mile oval. The laps do tick away pretty slow, at a slow pace, I would call it, compared to some of these other tracks that we're going to see all season long. So it is a long race. 50 laps does take quite a bit of time here. So there is still plenty of time for some of these guys about mid-pack or so to work their way up through the field, especially if they've had trouble early on in this race. So to salvage a decent finish is definitely not out of the question.
We'll see how this plays out. It is no tires on the inside of the front row for the 27 of Cody Bias, who started tonight P6. Paul Kashiba, first driver, out on 4 tires so far this season, working with some decent results in one race with a 17th place finish at round 2, but other than that, a 33rd and a 32nd. He searches for a first top 10, and if that, searches for victory lane here tonight in round number 4. And then with Mitchell Hunt, Bose, Johnson through the top 5 on back. Everybody else with 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. The pace car going to get down and out of the way. Field in the hands of Cody Bias. He's on it already. American Ethanol. Green flag flies. Back and away we go. Not the best start for the driver outside of the front row. A lot better for the inside lane. Mitchell Hunt to the inside on Paul Kashiba. At a good jump by Alan Bose. He also takes that shortcut to the inside of the racetrack. 81 to second, 21 to third, and the 72 drops back to P4.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Kashiba really trying to get back what he lost there. Alan Bose already down to the bottom. Kashiba just shoving the 21 of Bose down the back straightaway. The 81 of Mitchell Hunt up on the high side. He's really trying to dig deep to really hold on to that spot. And meanwhile, Bose now battle for the lead to the inside of the 27 of Cody Bias. No tires versus 4. Bias going to shut the door on him. Maybe a little bit aggressive here in this stage of the run on no tires as Bose going to try to run him up the hill a little bit. Bose to the point in turn 1.
And Bose with that aggressive move, he holds that apron, which is in play with it just being a white line on the bottom. That's absolutely fair play. The 21, he holds the white line, Andy, into the corner, and eventually that 27 Bias, he's got to arc it in. So as soon as that 27 moved up, Bose powered through with those 4 tires to the bottom. We saw an accident in this series 1 year ago where a driver was on that apron, another driver was topside, and they played chicken all the way to turn 1. That's about what that was. Spinning, though, behind the one of the Mitchell Hunt. Caution is out after that driver got sideways in 3 and 4, just to the inside of Paul Kashiba. A very slow spin down to the pit lane. That car does come to a stop, though, on the apron of the racetrack. It triggers the yellow.
Yeah, you look at the replay right here. Just product, fresh tires, I think, and these guys are on the bottom side there, just really having to turn that wheel to stay off of the guys on the outside, and I think that's exactly what happened right there for Mitchell Hunt. Maybe a classic oversteer there, hard on the throttle, gets that thing a little sideways. And once they start to break loose, it's tough to catch them, especially at this track. And you see those lazy spins like that all the time. So tough break right there, Mitchell Hunt. He's been having a fantastic race up front all race after making that early call to stay out. And tough break for him right now. Doesn't look like he got any damage on that though, so he should be able to get some 4 fresh tires back on that thing and get back out there.
Alan Bowes leading your race at the moment. The driver of the 21 machine has finished in third in the opening 3 rounds on the campaign. We'll group up behind the pace car and we'll be just shy of the halfway point, looking for the 5th restart off of a caution flag on the evening. Step away, be back in a moment. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the Fontana 200 Round 4 on the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series on iRacing Live.
Championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5 seconds.
in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's going to be at the stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Back live under the lights in Fontana, California. It's the Fontana 200 for round 4 on the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, powered by iRacing.com. Cody Bias is second at the moment on the racetrack. Started P6, has led laps in this race. Alan Bowes just in front of him. We talked about him before we stepped away. Paul Kashiba, though, very good at the moment. 11th place on the grid, and just behind him, Nicholas Johnston, 10th as well. So these guys qualified outside row 5, inside row 6. Not to discount them from starting there, Andy, but they've actually been doing a very good job right now. 3rd and 4th position, and trying to put a show on for these guys. And the most important thing I notice about them is they're keeping their cars clean. Same can't be said for Cody Bias. He's been in it a little bit tonight after he got pounded on the right side earlier.
Yeah, and that that restart a couple times ago is when it happened for Cody Bias. Went down into the grass, able to get back up on track. But yeah, well, these other two guys, Kashiba and Nicholas Johnson, they definitely have been having a fantastic race, keeping it clean all race, staying out of trouble, staying up front. But they're not doing it just on strategy. These two guys have been very fast all night. The car's definitely a good setup, a good one that these guys can race with. So. Very excited to see these guys up front now here this far into the season. Kashiba definitely needed. We mentioned his finishing results so far this season. He's one of those guys that we talked about that wants to get up into that top 20 to get that automatic bid into the Peak Antifreeze Series. And right now he sits like 32nd in the points right now. So a good run like this is definitely what's needed for that 72 machine.
We expect the lights to go off this time by. That would set us up for a restart with 51 laps to go. Brian, as a driver, does it affect you at all starting and stopping with all of the caution flags we've seen averaging at this point about 1 every 7 or 8 laps? Does that affect you long term, or is it just part of the game?
Well, I think when you have this many cautions, you kind of get used to it, but it can affect you mentally, especially if you're a driver that likes longer runs, if you want to get into a long run, or if you're a driver that needs the time to get into a rhythm. I know for me personally, this would really affect me because I'm a rhythm driver, and especially on a track like this. I need to be able to get into a rhythm in order to run the consistent lap times that I know I need to run to be competitive. I think for these guys, though, they've kind of gotten used to it so far tonight, so they shouldn't be too affected by it. But if we get a long run now, that's going to make things interesting because they've gotten into this mindset where they're going to have 7 or 8 lap runs and then a caution. If this thing ends up going green, it's going to be really interesting to see. Do guys push their cars too hard and kill the tires, or do they actually manage their tires and be strong on the longer run?
Still 34 drivers on the lead lap, all the way back to Brad Davies. The number 11 machine is 34th position right now. The drivers that are off of the lead lap, Dylan C. Jones is 6 laps down in 35th. Alex Scribner, Joshua Lawton, 36th and 37th onto the pit lane. Billy Price, Jason Jacoby, Rob Ackley, Jacob Harberts, Kyle Putz, David Rattler out of this race all the way through the final spot on the grid tonight in P43. Pace car going to go down. Andy, we get set to go back at it. Bo is in control.
Yeah, Bose is in control right now. Cody Bias will start on his outside. That bottom side should get a really good restart with the fresh tires. Cody Bias obviously with the worn out tires. Pace car is off though. Green flag is back in the air, and Alan Bose wastes no time. 2 car lengths now. He stretches his lead as Kashiba getting a good push right now from Brandon Hoff as they head back to turn 1.
And Kashiba almost shuts the door on that 23. Brandon Hoff perseveres in contact with the 90. Nicholas Johnston to the bottom. He gives a shot to the right rear of Hoff. The 23 not upset all that much about that, though. Car stays pretty good through turn number 2. He'll get the spot behind Paul Kashiba and in front of Cody Bias. But that 9 mission of Johnston, a huge arc, and now 3 wide behind. It's Joey Israelson in the middle. Timu even in topside falling back. And on the bottom, Dylan Duval trying to get back to the top 5.
Logan Clampett on the bottom of this 3 wide mess is about 3 wide too. 3 rows deep now as Clampett really trying to work hard to get around the 83 of Thomas Davis, the 46 of Dylan Rafferty involved in that mess as well. The 02 of Blake Bryant as well in that scrap. 20 at Greg McKinney. You're trying to go high, wide, and Hanson, run the Dale Jr. line around the outside. He's going to get himself settled up near the top 10 here once everything shakes out. Timo Ivonen, the loser in that little scrap, he's going to fall just to the edge of the top 10, in between the 83 of Thomas Davis and the 44 of Logan Clampett. But it's all Alan Bose out front right now. He's got about 4 or 5 car lengths over the 72 of Paul Kashiba. And how about a run for Kashiba? Disastrous start to the year, I believe, at 230th place finishes or somewhere around there, and a 17th. He really needs a 2nd place or better finish here tonight if he really wants to get himself established to get back into the NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series.
And it's been the race leader that's been able to pull the gaps. 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. It has varied. However, Paul Kashiba not giving up. The 72 is keeping him honest in the front, but the top 10 single file at this point at lap 52. Just outside the top 10, a battle with Michael J. Johnson on the bottom, and top side is Dylan Rafferty. That is that fight, as we mentioned, for 13th position. We go on board that 46 Ford Fusion, almost contact the turn 1 to keep it out on this side-by-side fight as we ride with them.
We're riding with 46 now as he gets a cleared lane to the bottom. He's going to drop right in front of Tyler Laughlin right there in that 51 Monster Energy machine right there. Is Laughlin actually getting a decent run here down the corner, but it looks like Rafferty's going to shut the door on him as they head back into turn number 3. Lots of action right around this pack right here, just behind these guys too. The 38 of Lowe. We talked about him early on, starting from the 3rd position. Had some trouble, spun out after hitting the apron. He's still trying to make his way up into the top 15 right now, sitting 17th on the racetrack.
And Justin, not to discredit Alan Bose, that car's been good up front, but that 72 of Paul Kashiba seems to be closing. He's drafting all the way down the back straightaway. It takes the air off of the nose of that car, but what that means is that car's going to be tighter into the corner. The 72, though, looks a little bit quicker. These two are pulling away on Brandon Hoff and Johnson, who's sitting in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, they might have found something in the setup for the 72 of Paul Kashiba over the last couple of pit stops. I mean, this is a series where everybody can make adjustments on their cars, and several of the drivers have crew chief and a spotter logged into the sim as well. And for Paul Kashiba, this is what he really needs. He's really shown he can hang. And Alan Bose, no slouch in this series. He is the points leader via several top 5 finishes thus far this season. So for Kashiba, this is a confidence booster. And don't say quit for Brandon Hoff. He's starting to reel these guys back in because Kashiba trying to make a move for the lead, but all for naught. It's about 0.5 of a second separating the top four.
4 wide for P10 across the start-finish line, and they'll settle it out to just 3 wide by the time they hit the corner. The 51 was in the middle. That was Tyler Laughlin, and way up top and still up there, the 93 of Byron Daly. He slides back. The 38 gets his way out of this, so Ryan Lowe clears this pack. So does Michael J. Johnson, and the 51 of Tyler Laughlin now trying to do the same. He and Trey Edson work the bottom of the racetrack. Behind them, Alex Warren, that 88 of Josh Berry, and topside with nowhere to go here, Shane Doherty kind of stuck out of line. That 3 wide continues, though. The 27 thinking about going to the middle, backing off, that time out of the corner for Cody Bias, and it's Josh Berry who forces the 3 wide. These guys not giving up outside the top 15, still going strong.
Yeah, they are, and one of those cars that we look at that's right in the middle of this is the 27 of Cody Bias, restarted in that second position, currently running 18th right now, so the old tires, as we're on board right now with the old tires right there, definitely showing up to the factor here, plus the damage that he has sustained from earlier on in the race as these guys battle real hard. Just behind him right there, side by side, and 88 gets a little bit loose coming off the corner, off of turn number 4. Maybe had a little help from the 81 right there, Mitchell Hunt. Mitchell Hunt's trying to get his... Oh, and the 88's whacking the wall.
And it's big problems for the 88. Josh Berry will spin to a stop. The Speedco Chevrolet heavily damaged, and it breaks out all by where we were watching that battle, just outside of the top 15, and it's a big hit for the 88 and the 1. Timmy Hill makes the pass on that slow Josh Berry. We take a look at the replay now, and that 88 comes down the hill, and he just gets him in the right rear and takes him out, comes back down. It looks like a big hit collected the number 55 machine of Nick Furler. Robin Williams' number 14 Chevrolet as well involved, so at least those 4 cars get a big piece, and that all again stems back to Josh Berry in that side-by-side fight with the 81 and 4. It looked like it was a little bit of contact, if not Berry just going up the hill, but a very strange incident because this contact comes when they were 2 wide, and they had been 4 wide for much time. It's a very strange piece of contact.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange right there, especially the aftermath of that right there, getting into the 1 of Timmy Hill, and not sure if he thought he was clear, just trying to get out of the way, obviously with the heavy damage from hitting the wall right there, but a lot of cars collected, a lot of guys that were real fast showing some speed, and the 1 car, Timmy Hill, who's been very consistent this season, just always starting in the back and kind of riding in the back all race long until about the halfway point, trying to work his way up through the field. He gets collected in that too, so a lot of big names out again.
The big names that have run strong in this race, and as well, we talk about Josh Berry and Timmy Hill being the 2 drivers involved in that accident. Those are the 2 drivers from NASCAR's Top 3 Touring Series that are part of this 2015-2016 Pro Series class of drivers. So the quick caution flag last time made the pit strategy a lot easier. This time we go through and everybody coming back down. Alan Bowe's first driver into pit stall number 9 in front of you, Cisco.
Yeah, I was talking to his crew chief, Ian Plash, over the last caution in the chat, and he said, after those last adjustments, Alan was saying the car was feeling like a rocket, so they're going to come in, take 4 tires here. He's feeling really confident with that car. He should be. He's running up front, but right now, also the 72 is in of Paul Kashiba. He's also getting work done on that car. Also feeling really happy with this car right now as he's going to roll off. There's going to be a huge pack right there. Kashiba's leading it. We got Clampett, Evonen, and Israelson all there, but Bo's going to lead him out. But Huff and Gilliland actually going to be the big winners on pit road.
And Hoff had that number 2 pit stall as opposed to the number 9 pit stall that Alan Bowes had. That's the reason I mentioned that he's coming down to stall 9, and he got the job done. So the 23 beats the 21 out of the pit lane. Bowes follows Brandon Hoff off pit road. Adam Gilliland, the first driver, out. But again, for the second time tonight, the Aftermath Motorsports machine driving through and back out. He'll come back down to the pit lane this next time by. And Brian, in a race that we have seen of this nature so far, we've seen Gilliland do it, we've seen Timmy Hill do it, and we've seen at least a couple of other guys in that same conversation. They're doing this so that when they come down, they're well back and out of the fray, I hear.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Timmy, that actually backfired for him because he was behind all of that and had nowhere to go. And really, that wasn't even a case where he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. That was just a situation where I'm not sure if Josh Berry just thought he had gotten clear and went to the bottom or what the deal was, but it really wasn't a case of Timmy putting himself in the wrong position. It just was an unfortunate set of circumstances. But I like the call until we get to this point of the race, because now we're down to 40 laps to go, and if you want to have any time to get to the front and try to get a good finish out of this, you've got to start making your way towards the front now. If you keep doing this, especially with the number of cautions that we've had, you're going to run out of time to make those moves at the end of the race. I feel like by now you need to be trying to march your way to the front and stop going to the back and hanging out.
We fall to 32 drivers on the lead lap, Justin, so quite a few amount of guys have fallen out of this race, but for the cautions, the rate of attrition is not all that high. We've seen a lot of guys get in problems tonight, but it haven't been big accidents. They've been able to get those cars fixed up for the most part, but I would agree with Brian, the fact that you can't keep hanging back. Soon you got to get going, because now we're within 40 laps to go. It's going to be very difficult to make up that time, that many positions, if you're outside the top 15 or top 20, if you're only doing it in 7 or 8 lap increments.
Yeah, and really, it's going to take somebody who's back around 25th or so to nail the right two-tire call at the right time and get that, 5 or 6 lap caution where everybody's going to come down for 4 tires. And then really, from there, it may be an adjustment or two, and really kind of put yourself up front and try to keep yourself there. And really, this may be what Adam Gilliland's trying to do. He may be trying to get himself out front and then ride a 4-tire, 6 or 7 lap dash for each caution all the way to the finish, and he really needs it in his gmercer.com Toyota.
And through that last green flag stretch, we've crossed the halfway point in tonight's Fontana 200. Let's take a look at our iRacing.com Midway Leaderboard, presented by iRacing.com, the leader in motorsport simulations and the official sim racing partner of NASCAR. It is Adam Gilliland, scored in first position, is going to be leading at the start-finish on. He elects to stay out to go topside for this one. Behind him, Brandon Hoff. Everybody from here on out with 4 tires. Hoff is in second, Alan Bose in third, Paul Kashiba fourth, and Timu Ivonen in fifth. 6th place is Joey Israelson, Logan Clamp at 7th, 8th for Dylan Duvall, Nicholas Johnston in 9th, and Thomas Davis in 10th.
Greg McKinney right now runs 11th. 12th goes to Dylan Rafferty. 13th is Blake Bryant. Michael J. Johnson runs 14th. 15th is Ryan Lowe. Tyler Laughlin runs 16th. 17th is Byron Daly. Trey Edson is 18th. 19th is Cody Bias. And Mitchell Hunt rounds out top 20.
Alex Warren in the 82 will be 21st, 22nd, 91, Shane Doherty, 17, Justin Trombley, 23rd, 24th to the 3 of Brandon Schmidt, 77 to the Andrew Fayesh machine, he's in 25th, 37 of Stephen Gilbert, he rides 26th, 27th, 98 of Ryan Borges, 92 Jeff Ramsdell, 27th and 28th, the 29th spot to the 55 of Nick Furler, and running out the top 30, the 11 of Brad Davies.
And then outside of the top 30 on the lead lap, you have Sasha Wessler and Robin Williams, the drivers still in this conversation. This has been your iRacing.com Midway Race Break. Visit iRacing.com for a wide variety of racing possibilities on the web today. That pace car going to get down. Let's see what Adam Gilliland can do. No tires, he stays out. It's him versus everybody else on 4. He holds him back all the way through to the American Ethanol Go Zone. Green flag flies, underway we go, and he gets the advantage down to turn 1. How long did those tires hold up? The battle is second.
Yeah, we'll see how long they hold up. We've seen everybody else be able to at least hold up for a couple laps right now as Alan Bose makes his way around Brandon Hoff. That's for that second spot. The battle for third, though, heating up off of turn number 2. Paul Kashiba, he's got the inside preferred line as they head down the back straightaway. Just behind them, some guys going all over the place here. Logan Clampett looking to the inside of the 99 of Ivonen. He's going to make that stick this time, but still off of turn 3. Kashiba and the 23 of Brandon Hoff looking for that third spot.
And they're right on each other at a turn number 4. A little bit of a bobble in turn 4 for Cody Bias. He's able to keep that car under control for the moment as the battle for the race lead continues down to turn number 1. Gilliland still has it. Alan Bose, though, backs up the corner. Big run to the inside of the racetrack. He's got it. 21, new race leader.
21 to the point with authority with a 3-wide battle for second to 25 of Joey Israelson on the bottom, the 72 of Paul Kashiba. He's going to ride the middle, the 8 of Alan Gilliland up on the high side. Gilliland Gonna back out of that. He's gonna follow the edge of the top 5, and Joey Israelson goes all the way down to the apron to protect that inside line for the 23 of Brandon Hoff. And at the stripe, it will be Paul Kashiba by 1,000th of a second. 5 wide now into the corner in 1.
And that's the 90, forces the issue to the bottom on the 8 of Gilliland. The aggressive move by Nicholas Johnson to the back bumper of the 23 and backs off of it, loose out of the corner for the 8 car. Gilliland going to lose 2 more spots to Tinu Evenin and as well to the 42 of Dylan Duval. And in all of that, still side by side for second, except Paul Kashiba now on the inside of the racetrack, and it's topside for the Infinite Creative Solutions Ford of Joey Israelson. Just behind them, Brandon Hoff. He wants to join the party. Logan Clampett's number 44 Chevrolet, top 5 at the moment after starting back in P25. All of this going on 0.4 of a second behind Alan Bose, who's trying to pull away and make a gap as that battle continues.
That's a great battle for that 3rd spot now as Israelson's on the outside of the 23 machine of Brandon Hoff. You got Paul Kashiba just slid up in front of him on the corner. Here comes Hoff now, going to dive it down in the corner. He's going to take over that 3rd spot right now. Top 5, 6, 7 guys now. So single file off of turn number 4. Logan Clampett, though, the big move here. He's moved up to the top 5.
Caution flag flies. The 38 of Ryan Lowe is down in the grass. The Dead Zone Racing Chevrolet slides to a halt. The caution flag is out, and this one looks like a single car accident in turn number 4. Going to be the 6th or 7th caution flag on the evening. And talk about a car snapping loose extremely quickly, Justin, in line, and out of nowhere, that 38 machine in behind him. He steps up the hill a little bit, gets sideways, he spins it out. That would have been a lot worse. I have to give huge props to Shane Doherty for not pounding into him. The 91 keeps it off him, so that's the only good news for Ryan Lowe is he's still got a race car. He'll be way at the back, though, as he spun it out.
Yeah, that could have been a lot bigger, but at the back of the pack, the 38 and Ryan Lowe was kind of out of the contention to begin with, and kind of a similar incident to Josh Berry before that big melee happened. The big difference, Ryan Lowe was towards the back of the pack versus Berry, who was up in the middle of the pack, and Ryan Lowe just having to hang on to it, just kind of keep it locked down, don't come back up the racetrack, and next thing you know, he's got himself a fresh set of 4 tires coming up here. I'm assuming he will come down to pit road the next time by and get the flat spots off them tires.
And this restart going to carry us over by the time we go back green as we work under our 7th caution flag. It is going to be past the 30 to go mark, and we'll be right at 3/4 distance, Brian. These guys just pitted. They're good on their fuel numbers from here, being able to make it a maximum of 45 laps. But based on what we saw with Gilliland staying out and going backwards very quickly, I would still imagine that we're going to see a couple of pit stops still to come, if not just one more, all dependent on when these yellows come out. This one came out very quickly, so not all of your race leaders in, but a bunch of guys from outside of the top 15 did come down.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how many laps they have on their tires between each run. I like the calls again by Adam Gilliland and these guys that are trying to stay out and get some track position. Unfortunately, he didn't have anybody come with him on that, and he was by himself on old tires. If 8 or 9 guys had come or had stayed out with him, that might have worked a little bit better because again, there would have been that gap between him and the first guy on fresh tires. But being the only guy doing it, that makes it very difficult. As we get closer to the end of this race, though, you're going to see guys in the back that want to get that track position. You might see more gamblers, more people taking 2 tires or staying out and trying to get that track position. I think we're going to see a split strategy if we get a couple more cautions here towards the end.
The strategy element is still in play at AutoClub Speedway, and it's Bose, Kashiba, Hoff, Israelson, and Logan Clampett inside of the top 5. It's been a very crazy race, guys, and all the yellows continue to keep everybody on their toes because they really haven't had the opportunity to settle in and do a whole lot, Andy. But look where the guys inside the top 10 started versus where they run now. Alan Bose was second fastest in the short warm-up session, but qualified 9th. We know he has a good car. He's leading this race. Same story for Brandon Hoff, who was a top 10 car in practice, qualified 2nd. He is 3rd. Paul Kashiba started 11th. He is in 2nd. Joey Israelson made the early strategy call to get to inside of the top 5 and the top 10. He has not fallen out, though. He's been right there after qualifying 38th to be in 4th. You got Logan Clampett from 25th, Dylan Duval from 34th, Greg McKinney from 30th. A lot of guys taking advantage of those early strategy calls to maintain their running positions up here.
Yeah, the early strategy calls plus all the trouble that a lot of these leaders have had in this race. So these guys have definitely made the great calls on pit road, strategy-wise, to get themselves the track position that they need. The question now is, though, can they hang on to it for the rest of the race? So far, so good for a lot of these guys. It's good to see a lot of those high numbers make their way up into the top 10, and it just shows you that qualifying just gets you in the show. It's how you can race, and that race trim, that the package that these guys can bring to the track is definitely very racy, and that they can get themselves up there and stay up there. That's the big key. Is getting up there is one thing. Staying out under pit road, anybody can do that. But to actually be able to have the speed to stay up there and battle with these guys who did qualify up there, that just shows a lot for the team itself and how these guys get these cars prepared.
This Thursday night on LSRTV, Upstate Racing League with the night off. They return to action next Thursday on the 3rd of December from Five Flag Speedway for the Les Enterprises MP Roy Incorporated 100 for round 5 on the 2015-2016 campaign. This Saturday, it's the penultimate race in the United Sim Racing Truck Series as well. There's so much sim racing action all week long on LSRTV. We encourage you to check in with us on our website at livesimracing.com. as well at Facebook at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. It is not too late to sign up for the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series and the RSR Outlaw Truck Series. So Full Throttle Cup just came to a close one night ago on LSRTV. If you were not there, I highly encourage you to check out how that one wrapped up. That's going to be Monday nights for the B cars, Wednesday nights for the trucks, all winter long on LSRTV. You can sign up there at realsimracing.com. Be out on track with some of the best sim racing drivers on the sim this winter under the banner of RSR. However, we have 30 laps to go in the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series Fontana 200. We saw on the third caution flag of the night, it took out the first 30, left us with 70. Now on the 8th, we have now 70 in the books and 30 laps left to go. Alan Bowes wants to run away with it. His biggest competition may be Paul Kashiba. Hoff, Israelson, and Clampett all have different ideas in mind. Possibly for the final time, the pace car going to dive down and away. Bowes in control of the field tries to guesstimate when that car's going to get off and away. A big deciding factor on what the field does is how early or how late the leader goes. He'll wait 1 second. Green flag flies. Underway we go. A spectacular restart, though, for Brandon Hoff and Logan Clampett.
That was a great restart by that whole bottom line right there. They timed it just right with Alan Bowes. Left Paul Kashiba all by himself on that top side, all to fend for himself currently right now, and that's going to drop him back into that 5th spot now. He's not going to give it up too easily, though, on that outside now as he battles back high on that high side, just outside of the 25 with Joey Arilson. So right now, side by side for 5th, that's their battle into turn 3.
And it's that 72 on the outside who was second for the restart, but being on the top side, not the bottom, has gone backwards. That 23 of Hoff, he's been able to get second. Clampett was able to get third. We look on board the back of that number 44 Chevrolet. Back in the battle for P4 that sees the rail sit on the bottom. Fighting with that 72 in contact. Paul Kashiba's going to get hit in the left rear. He is spinning in turns number 1 and 2 into the outside wall in hard contact for the iSuperspeedway.com Chevrolet. No caution flag, but his night now done. He'll limp down the backstretch.
Tough luck for the driver, that number 72, and he's really had no luck at all here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. Everybody gets trying to single file out for the most part through about the first top 10 or so. In the 81 of Mitchell Hunt, he's trying to stick his nose on a line. He's to the bottom of the 02 of Blake Bryant for about 11th spot on the racetrack as they run. Mitchell Hunt with a little bit of electrical connection issues, blinking in and out of the server at times, along with the I believe that's going to be the 39 of Michael J. Johnson. Those two cars, a little bit skittish, those guys running on the outside are, because you're not quite sure where those cars are in front of you.
Logan Clampett goes to the inside of the racetrack. The number 44 wants second from Brandon Hoff, and he's opening 7 to 9 races. 1 week will be dropped on your points. The 44 doesn't have that luxury. Missed to start. He's in the same boat as a handful of other guys who need to get everything they can out of all of these races. Right now, a podium spot, but he wants more. Not going to get the run into turn 1 that he wanted. 23 comes down. He'll shut that door, and now we'll see what Israelson can do, because as we come into turn number 2, the 25 peaks a nose to the bottom, and now it's a fight for third.
Yeah, Israelson got a great jump off of turn number 2 right there. able to carry the momentum and a little bit of drafting help down the back straightaway. He's got the inside lane now on Clamp It. He's going to slip up just a bit, though.
Oh, big contact! The 25 hard in the outside wall. Joey Israelson is going to keep it pointed forward. No caution. We stay green again after that 25 made contact in turns 1 and 2. Couple of laps ago with Paul Kashiba, a self-spin in turn 4. He collects Dylan Duval and the 90 car as well, pick up some damage, so that hurts Nicholas Johnson and Duval.
Wow, the
Unreal.
replay goes
Replay
up
going
on
your screen of that incident. 3 wide now for about the 7th spot or so. The 46 of Dylan Rafferty has to back out of it right now. The 20 of Greg McKinney also there in slow car up top. The 23 of Brandon Hoff. Big trouble for him. Gonna have to find out what happened.
He slowed down the front straightaway. He'll lose a lot of spots after that car broke sideways into turn number 3. After running in second spot, he's going to go well outside the top 10.
That's a tough break for him right there. Just got loose, just got out of shape right there going into the corner. Got loose, got up on the high side there, and just lost all the momentum that he had, and that's going to lose him a ton of spots here in the late going. Not what you wanted with under 25 to go.
And we'll see a replay of that incident or near incident down in turn number 3 that drops Hoff outside of the top 10, as we mentioned at that moment, was running in the number 2 position. Now he's going to have to attempt to recover from that, get back on track. He slides to 13th. In front of him in 13th, a battle going on track, and it's top side and now dropping down to the inside for Byron Daly. 40th to 10th at the moment. If he can continue to hold off some of these other guys, the 20 of Greg McKinney puts him down to 11th, and that 20, 2 birds with 1 stone to the inside on the Monster Energy Chevrolet of Tyler Laughlin. So McKinney to 9th, Laughlin back to 10th, and Brandon Hoff trying to get back up there. He wants the 11th spot from that 93 of Daly. 3 wide at the bottom to the apron as that 51 tries to shut the door. He can't do it though.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to do it right now as Brandon Hoff makes the pass on the bottom side, gets around Laughlin. That's going to open the door for the 93 of Byron Daly. Daly now going to look. The door's going to get shut right there at Tyler Laughlin as they go back into turn number 3. Laughlin now with a crossover move, going to try it anyway. Not going to be successful this time by Brandon Hoff's going to hold on to that position off of turn number 4. Just behind these guys, Low in the 38. Trying to get back into this thing after a couple incidents now. He's working on the high side here above the 8 of Adam Gilliland now. That's the battle for that 12th spot as they head back into turn 1.
Yeah, and Lowe was very high on the racetrack in turn 4. He just about went with it about half a foot of the outside wall, using every single inch of the width on this track to keep that outside lane competitive. He's still topside on the 8 of Adam Gilliland. Behind him, the 6 of Trey Edson. Outside, the 3 car challenging to the bottom. That is Brandon Schmidt. Again, all of this going on behind the 51 of Dino Laughlin. For 11th, the 51 car now sideways, and a spectacular save by Tyler Laughlin. He'll be slow in the middle of the racetrack. High side they go, bottom side they go, but that 51 should have been in defense. A spectacular job to hang on to it.
Unreal. These guys are driving at the absolute limit of what can be done on this simulation. 3 wide now on a turn number 2. The 8 of Adam Gilliland going to go to the bottom. The 3 of Brandon Schmidt, last week's winner. He's going to be in the middle. The 6 of Trey Edson up on the high side, and those guys up in front of them. The 51 of Laughlin, the 93 of Byron Daly. Those two try going at it, but now settles down 2 wide, about 3 rows deep there for about 12th to 13th.
This is the race in action we've been expecting to see all night. Still 2 and 3 wide, and they're relentless. You get past 3 wide, top side, the next corner, you're on the inside of a 3 wide. You can't just back down and get out of a situation like this, Brian, because if you drive smart, you're going to lose 10 spots. So these guys, they're forced to drive aggressively. More 3 wide now as it's Gilliland to the inside.
Yeah, you can't be conservative in this type of a situation or you're going to drop backwards, and we've seen that with a couple of these drivers that keep slipping back. I look at Brandon Schmidt and think that because he had a couple of opportunities where he could have made some moves and he decided not to, and now he's dropping towards the back of this pack. With less than 20 to go now, you have to get up on the wheel. You're running out of time.
And meanwhile, goodbye Alan Bowes. 1 second in front of Logan Clampett in the number 2 spot, and Clampett 1.4 seconds out in front of Dylan Rafferty. Those guys, Andy, I can guarantee you, want it to go green.
Well, maybe. Alan Bowes probably wants it to go green because of because of the amount of gap that he's got right now over second of the 44 Logan Clampett. Clampett, I'm sure, wants to see a caution because he lost that ground battling these guys hard for position, especially when the 23 got loose there in the corner, and he had to check up just a bit so he'd avoid it. Well, that caused him to lose some momentum. Right now, though, he's pretty steady. They're running about the same lap times right now, so I'm sure Logan Clampett wouldn't mind a caution right now to bunch us up and give him a shot at him.
We talk about the race leaders for a moment, then we come back to the battle for 15th, which is still too wide, multiple rows deep, but it's still just in front of the 93 of Byron Daly. He's gotten away. The 8 that I just mentioned was on the inside of the 3 wide 1-2 laps ago. He's been able to get clear and pull away, so Gilliland trying to stay out of it. Now it's the 82 of Alex Warren, bottom for that machine, and top side for the 02 of Blake Bryant, who snags the wall that time at a 4. That'll kill his momentum down to turn number 1, and now Ryan Lowe back in the picture as he looks at the bottom and makes that a fight for now 18th position. It is non-stop right now outside of the top 10. This fight continues. You got all of these guys bunched within half a second to a second of each other, but they're 5+ seconds off of the race leaders. This isn't helping them. They would need a caution to try to advance their position more than 4 or 5 spots. That's the amount of groups that they're in.
Yeah, it was 3 wide for a moment for the 14th spot, and Cody Bias going to be the victor in that battle this time by. He's going to claim the 14th spot from the 93 of Byron Daly. The 3 of Brandon Schmidt going to dive down to the apron, try to bring along the 82 of Alex Warren, who's trying to run up the middle of these two guys. And really, these 4 drivers, you could throw a blanket over them, and it's just like watching a sprint car race. These guys are trading slide jobs. They're doing everything they can to stop the other guy's momentum, and it really is quite a treat to watch.
Lap traffic now a factor. Alan Bowes works to the inside on Timmy Hill. He'll make the move on him. The 72 of Paul Kashiba looked like he was in a prime position to challenge for this win. The 72 is 2 laps down. That's another car that Alan Bowes has since worked around, as well as the 31 of Sasha Wessler, who is torn up after starting in 28th. The 31 now becomes the first driver 1 lap down in 29th position. Another driver that said that they were looking forward to this race. Things have not panned out like they were expecting at all. We'll see these lap times and the differences inside the top 5, inside the top 10. They'll fluctuate as these guys work around that group of about 4 or 5 lap machines. But realistically, unless somebody really starts to fall off, Brian, it's going to be difficult to make up a second in these 15 laps. But we have seen these cars be snappy loose all night long. That is still well possible.
Yeah, anything's possible right now. It's really impressive to see how strong Alan Bowes has been up here at the front of the race, or at the front of the pack. He has pulled out to a 1.1 second lead and doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. And I'm kind of wishing I had stuck with him as my original pick for the fantasy picks, because I originally picked him and decided to change it at the last second. But he's got a really fast race car, and I don't think anybody here has a shot at him.
Caution flag if it comes inside of the final 5 laps. This race will not restart. There's no green-white checker in the iRacing service. If we see it before then, have an opportunity to get a 1 lap to go restart, a 2 lap to go restart from there on out. But as soon as we get to lap number 95, a caution flag would end us at a slowed pace. Alan Bowes, he'd take it any other way, but after having to fight through multiple restarts, this is a car that has been strong all night long, but he didn't get to stretch his legs. He had to do restart after restart after restart, continued to hold those guys off, and he was flawless in doing so. He didn't blunder once. 1.1 seconds in front of the field, trying to pull a little bit of a gap on Logan Clampett. Battle inside of the top 10, the 20 of Greg McKinney in 7th. Thomas Davis's number 83 Chevy on the attack. To the inside goes the Amp Energy Mountain Dew Chevy. Give him the spot at a turn number 4. So the 83 of Davis up to 7th. And Edson went for it. Couldn't quite make that car stick, though. He had to lift at a 4.
Yeah, he did. He did have to lift just a little bit right there, and in order to not push up the racetrack and get into the number 20 of McKinney. So Edson had to fall back, and now he's going to try to work his way around him if he can out in the down back straightaway. Now he's getting a little bit of a draft help right now as they head back into turn number 3, trying to make it work. He's in the top 10 at this point, but looking for more before the end of this.
Battle shaping up for the 2nd spot. The fastest car on the racetrack at the moment is the 46 of Dylan Rafferty in 3rd. He's caught about 0.2 of a lap out of Alan Bowes' lead. He needs to get around Logan Clampett this time by in order to have any prayer at getting to the back bumper of Alan Bowes if this race stays green to the end. Gets around the lap car, the 25, and Joey Israelson. Not going to get a very good run out of turn number 2. He really has to give it everything he has, and now it looks to the inside of the 44, Logan Clampett. Does the JDR Graphics Chevrolet shut the door on the Ford of Dylan Rafferty? Yes, he does. These guys are racing hard for the second spot, this time by 10 laps to go at the stripe.
We rode on board with Kyle Putz at the start of the evening, seeing what a clean and open racetrack looked like. Now you go on with that 46, you see what it's like to battle. Shorter way around to the bottom, clear down to turn number 1, and Dylan Rafferty to second spot at 10 laps to go at a turn number 2. That 44 of Logan Clampett tries to fight back. Good run at a turn 2 down the back straightaway. He'll stick it nose to the inside. How hard does he drive it down to turn number 3? The gap between these guys and the leader, 1.2 to 1.3 seconds. Let's see what Rafferty can do now in clean air. He pulls corner off.
He does, and I think that's why Logan Clampett didn't try to force the issue down the back straightaway. Now it's a 3-car length lead over that spot right now for Dylan Rafferty. Caution on the speedway.
And this one changes once again. It is Brandon Hoff. The caution flag is out, running in 15th position on the bottom of a side-by-side into turns number 1 and 2. Caught the apron, left side tires on that white line, stepped it up the hill. Looks like he was going to hang on to it, but one final overcorrect hard into the outside wall for the RAR Chevette number 23 Chevrolet. The yellow is out, Brian, and I said these guys could easily get snappy loose, and you mentioned earlier left side tires don't work good on the apron, and both of those come into effect here, and we'll have one final restart as Brandon Hoff brings out the yellow.
Yeah, this is going to be a critical moment for all of these teams. What decision do you make here? Do you come down and get tires? Do you stay out and hope that everybody else stays with you? It's going to be a split strategy here, like I was talking about before. I don't want to be in Alan Bowes' shoes right now, trying to decide, do I pit and possibly give up the race lead, or do I stay out and hope that guys stay out with me? This is going to be a really interesting call, and it's going to be tough. These crew chiefs are going to have a lot of work to do in the next couple of seconds.
And this caution is going to give us one whale of a fish and no water bottle on the front stretch necessary. It's a problem in turn 4. What do you do on pit road? Alan Bowes is leading this race by over 1.5 seconds at the point of caution. He is now, the gap's gone, basically. It's Dylan Rafferty, Logan Clampett, Timu Iveden, and Mitchell Hunt top 5. Do you stay out? Do you take 2? Do you take 4? And based on all of those different options, how many drivers elect to do each? Pit road is open, this time out of turn number 4. Way up the track for Alan Bowes. He's thinking about coming down, and he will stay out in front of the field. So does Dylan Rafferty, Logan Clampett, Timu Iveden, and Mitchell Hunt also stay out. It looks like nobody from the top 10 come down. The first one in is P10. It looks like actually just behind him the 8-car of Adam Gilliland.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting strategy call for these guys. It was about a 20-lap run under green, so I think the tires will help, but it's just going to be a question. These guys are going to have to drive through a bunch of cars that stayed out here, so I guess we'll have to see, those 4 tires, are they going to be enough? It'll be interesting here. I'm looking at the 3 of Brandon Schmidt. He's down on pit road right now. He's got all 4. He's getting ready to take off right now. There he goes. The 51 of Tyler Laughlin's going to leave ahead of him as well. There's Adam Gilliland. I believe he took 2 tires, so he's going to come out right now. Behind him is Justin Trombley in the 17. Tyler Laughlin, as I mentioned, the 51, and behind him the 3 and the 82 of Warren. Those guys drag race.
The top 10 do not come down pit road. That is Alan Bowes, Dylan Rafferty will be on row 1, Logan Clampett, Timu Iveden row 2, Mitchell Hunt, Thomas Davis in 3, row 4 will be Greg McKinney, Trey Edson, and Michael J. Johnson and Cody Bias in row 5 in 9th and 10th position. Couple of guys behind there staying out, looking for the wave buys. The next driver out that is off of the pit lane, the 02 of Blake Bryant, who elected to stay out from way back in the pack. So there is plenty of strategy, and I would agree that, Andy, that is a big gap of guys that stay out for those guys on 4 tires to be able to do anything with it, especially considering not only that, 1, this restart's coming inside of 5 laps to go, but 2, you might not get all of those laps either.
Yeah, I think that's what Alan Bowes and Rafferty and Clampett, I think that's exactly what those guys were thinking. You know what? Even if I don't win this thing, if one of these guys behind me beats me, chances are everybody on these fresh tires is just going to be pushing the issue. You're going to see 3, 4 wide. Chances are you're probably going to get a caution. And with that said, that'll leave these guys up front because we don't have the green, white, checkered finishes. So that's exactly what these guys are thinking. I think at worst they're thinking they'll sneak out of here with a top 5. The fact that 10 cars stayed out, I think the first group of guys that are on the fresh tires, they might be able to get up to like maybe that 5th spot or so, maybe even 3rd if it does stay green, but I don't think they have anything for the leader.
And this worked out pretty good, Brian, for Alan Bowes, because as the race leader, you're normally in a very bad spot. If you pit, everybody else can stay out. If you stay out, everybody else can pit. He went way high, and he was thinking about jumping down. He still left that opportunity open. He stays out, though. He is extremely fortunate that everybody 2nd through 10th immediately with him stay out also, because it could have been just as easy for Dylan Rafferty to make that left-hand turn. Everybody could have followed him. So for the 21 machine, it's a gamble no matter what you do. It's not a safe move to stay out. It's not a safe move to come in, but it looks like that he'll have a fair shot at this one, and in pretty good standing, because he'll be racing against guys that, at least what we've seen in the final 1/4 of this race, so through that 20-lap run, he had their number on.
Yeah, he got very fortunate that so many guys stayed out. This was a call that I'm actually amazed that more guys didn't come to pit road. They ran almost 20 laps on those tires. These tires are very worn out, and for the guys that are right in front of those people that went down pit road and got fresh tires, they're in trouble. And these guys, even I would say around the 5th or 6th position, they're in trouble too. I don't think that those guys are going to have a chance to get to Alan Bowes to have a shot at the win, but they're certainly going to get up into the top 5 if this stays green, which is the big if. We had our longest green flag run of the night here just in this most recent run, but now we have a 5-lap dash to the finish. These guys are going to be very aggressive. These guys on fresh tires are going to be very aggressive. It's a recipe for disaster, quite frankly.
Laps 97, 98, 99, and 100 remain in front of us, Justin. I don't think that we're going to make it through those 4 based on how aggressive and how much of this very wide racetrack we saw these guys use, not only on the first restart, not only on restarts alone, but through this entire race. You throw them up there with guys with fresh tires versus guys on old tires, it might get ugly behind P10.
It's going to probably be ugly up here in the top 10, to be honest with you, because everybody's just going to try to go for it. We've seen it at Homestead, and I honestly think we'll get maybe 2 laps, if that, and that's probably being a little bit aggressive on that. Is you're Dylan Rafferty. Alan Bowes has been going the instant the pace car moves down to pit road, so you really got to be on it, getting ready to go, and really got to stay on it and hope that Alan Bowes is still planning on going the same time that he has all night long out front.
A caution flag will end it. 4 laps to go at a turn number 4. The American Childhood Cancer Organization going to get down and out of the way. Alan Bowes is in control. We approach the American Ethanol Go Zone. The 21 on the loud pedal. Green flag flies, and as they come across the stripe, 4 to go in Fontana. A caution ends it.
Caution will end it in the battle for second. Now is heating up as Clampett's got the inside lane. Rafferty was the fastest car on the track during that last run, but right now he's trying to make that high side work for him. He's got the advantage right now, so they're 4 or 5 wide behind him.
And that's 4-5 wide, multiple rows deep. In the middle of it all is that 20 of Greg McKinney. Is there any way this pack makes it into turn number 4? They go into turn 3. Still 3 and 4 wide. It looks like for the moment those guys continue to hang on. Look at Logan Clampett. The 44 is slow at a turn number 4. A big checkup behind him. Another 5 wide.
Big implications here up towards the front of the field. 4 wide going down into turn 1, this time by Adam Gilliland on the bottom, the 90 of Johnston.
There goes the 90, that's it! Nicholas Johnston is turned into the outside wall. Caution flag will fly, and Alan Bowes is going to win it in Fontana. It finally broke out, and Justin, I will say I'm impressed that survived turn 3 around to turn 1. That was 4, 5, and 6 wide. Some good racing there. Eventually, though, you can't find enough room for that many cars.
No, you cannot. 4 and 5 wide. Replay up on your screen. You're just going to see the chaos that ensued there from about turn 3 all the way to turn number 1. And unfortunately, I really would have liked to have seen this stay green. And to be honest with you, I think Dylan Rafferty really had something for Alan Bowes, and this is not what he wanted to see.
They needed a caution to get back in it, but Andy Kessler, 2 cautions, takes them out of it.
Yeah, that's going to be an unfortunate thing for a bunch of those guys. Obviously, they don't have the chance for a restart to make up that ground, so where they are is where they are, and we see a lot of guys that were up in that front group, that top 5, battling for a win, now finding themselves outside the top 10, one of those being the 44 late Logan Clampett. Slipped up there going into the corner. That slowed him up. That made it 5 wide for that position, and chaos fell from there right now. But some of these guys that we're looking at that made some vast improvements. You look at this top 10 right now, Evan, as they run and they come to the white flag this time. Look at all the double-digit starting spots for those guys and the high numbers. Look at Adam Gill in trouble early on and really battling mid-pack all race long, and he's going to sneak out of this thing with a top 5. So some interesting spots and guys up front there that we didn't see there just a few moments ago.
Byron Daly passes 30 drivers to go from 40th to 10th, amongst other guys who feature plus 20s, plus 25s on the end of this one in Cisco. Alan Bowes got the job done. He did exactly what he needed to do, and that was a good restart. And that battle that we were seeing in 1 and 2, it wasn't that far behind him, actually. That 4 and 5 wide was only maybe 3/10 back. Those 4 tires were coming. Alan Bowes, though, satisfied with the result.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw people like the 3 and the 51 coming through the field. They're going fast. If they probably, I mean, we're looking, Tyler Laughlin, he's running 6th right now. Brandon Schmidt would have been 7th. I don't know. If the rest of these laps had been green, I think they might have actually caught the leaders. It would have been close, though.
Those guys were chugging. Dylan Rafferty was right there. Timu Ivonen as well, and a good spot to challenge if something would have happened between those top 2 drivers. Alan Bowes, though, he has done 3 races so far. He's made every single grid a P3 in the season opener, then another P3 at Phoenix, another P3 at Homestead tonight. It'll be his 4th top 5 in 4 races as he solidifies himself as a legitimate championship contender. But finally, he makes those extra 2 steps up on the podium that they have been searching for. It is at a slowed pace, but it tastes just as sweet nonetheless. Turn 4 for the final time, a checker and a yellow alongside. You can put it in the bank for Alan Bowes, winner in Fontana, takes across the start-finish line to win the Fontana 200.
Yeah, first win of the season for Alan Bowes. That's incredible. 4th top 5 and 4 starts. Like you said, he finally broke the 3s, though, finishing 3rd in all 3 of the first 3 events here this season. Now he comes home with that all-elusive win that he had been looking for. We talked to him on pit road last week, and just basically saying, if you're running up front, eventually these wins will come, and it finally did for him here at AutoClub.
A strong performance to win this one. 4 top 5s in 4 starts is not too shabby of a statistic for Alan Bowes, and he'll celebrate already in turns number 3 and 4. Rightfully so. And if our LSRTV fantasy continues on the same trend, because our own Jacob Seelman, who has really been putting on a clinic with us tonight, he picked the race winner in the season opener. He said Alan Bowes would get the job done. Andy, you did as well. That's 48 points into your pockets and a win for Alan Bowes, because he gets the job done and he'll burn it down on the front straightaway. Your winner in round 4 in AutoClub Speedway, Alan Bowes, victorious tonight in the Fontana 200. The celebration sure to continue long into tonight with a post-race show coming up in just a moment, where we'll talk with him and some of your other top finishers post-race as we close in on Watkins Glen for round 5 next Tuesday night. It'll be the LSRTV post-race show from Fontana, California, and we'll be back in just a moment. You're watching our coverage of the 2015-2016 NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series. Alan Bowes, your winner in Fontana.
championship leader has taken over. Vincent holds a 22.5 seconds.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval, and that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself. And they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsports. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building two tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result.
We're back live post-race at the virtual Auto Club Speedway. The Fontana 200 is into the books, and Alan Bowes wins on a late race restart and caution, subsequently ending this one at a slowed pace. It is his first career NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series win in 14 starts, and as well as marking his fourth top 5 in 4 starts on the year. It is his 7th career top 5 in just those 14 starts. We welcome into the LSRTV post-race show. Going to catch up with some of your top finishers tonight and to get it all kicked off. Caught up on the pit lane with the driver of the number 51. It's a P6 for Tyler Laughlin. Tyler, congratulations to you, a P6. It's a good run for starting back in 32nd position. You were confident coming into this race, and the car was pretty good. You come home inside of the top 10. How was it?
That last restart, I'm still kind of shaking off of it because I don't know how I made it up there, but it feels good to get a good finish. We've had great setups all season, just haven't had any luck fall my way, which is really hard to get some luck rolling in the Pro Series. But I had a worse Pro Series start last season, miraculously, because I've had some pretty bad finishes already this season. But first good finish I had last season was a 6th at AutoClub, and I've done the same, so I'm hoping to string along a couple good finishes here in a row.
We talk about these first 7 races having one drop week. It looks like that would be Phoenix for you to this point with a P39 there, a 37th in the season opener, and then a 17th last week. So you mentioned P6. It's getting better. Is it anything that you guys have picked up so far as this season has continued on? Every time we get a new Pro Series field, there's new guys in there as well as guys that you're used to racing with a lot. Is it anything to do with that, or is it really just some things that have not gone your way at all so far? And when you are able to get through a race and you're able to run the race that you think you're able to, and that 51 car can stay clean to the end, and this is the results that you guys are capable every single week?
Well, I feel like we've had a lot of bad luck, but the thing is with this Pro Series is everyone's pretty much equal because this build's been out a while. You have the top teams only maybe 2/10 faster than the bottom teams, which you've got a lot of good top teams up there. So what happens is, there's a new build coming out here in a couple of weeks, and I feel like our team will jump on at the best. We have the best resources, I feel like, making setups for us, but it'll be interesting to see what happens, what transpires over the new build, what we get new to the car, and how that changes making setups.
This race was an interesting one. A lot of cautions early, a 20-lap green flag stretch that looked like it would take us to the end. And then, as you mentioned, that final restart where everything broke loose and you were able to fight for that P6 at the end of it all. What was it like racing in this one with a constant stop and go? And then once you guys were green, it wasn't much more outside of continuous 2 and 3 wide for the most part.
Yeah, the multiple grooves, it's really surprised me by how the outside line kind of came in right there at the end. Once we got a pretty long green flag run in coming down to the stretch. But that last restart, whole team was telling me to just stay out. I went ahead and pitted and only lost 2 spots. I was like, that couldn't have been a bad call because I knew coming out, only losing 2 spots, having first tires is going to save me and get me a lot more positions. And I just went wide open through 1 and 2 and almost through 3 and 4, and I got 6 or 7 spots just off that. So I'm just proud to get a good finish for HPM, and they've worked so hard all week on this setup, and I know they deserve to win, but I'm proud to bring home 6th.
And we talked about at the beginning of this one that although it's typically a one-groove racetrack, we have seen some surprises this season as far as that groove widening out, and the same thing comes true tonight, widening out and open up those possibilities for you. If we went green, did that 51 have a shot at this?
I don't really think so. My goal tonight was just get a good finish. If I got a better starting spot, I was going to go for it and be more risky with my setup and how I went about the race. But I was just playing conservative tonight, wanting to get a good finish because I didn't get to a good start. But I know Auto Club's one of my best tracks I go to, and I felt like we could have won. Our team had a great setup under us. We just needed the track position there at the end.
Well, it's a very good run for you guys here, a P6. When it's all said and done, Tyler, sponsors and shout-outs to people behind the scene. Who powers that 51 Chevy?
Monster Energy, definitely. They've stuck with me through 2 seasons now, like some mediocre finishes, and they don't deserve it. But I'm going to try to string along some good finishes for them. I got Infinite Creative Solutions. They paint my cars. Dylan Duvall. Go check him out. He makes some amazing paint schemes. Marco S.O. Designs. He made my helmet. Makes some pretty sick helmets. Go look it up in the showroom. And about it. Just want to thank you guys at LSRTV for broadcasting these races. Y'all are the best, and everyone can learn from y'all.
Tyler, we appreciate the kind words. We want to thank you for sticking around and chatting as well. Congratulations to you guys, P6. You guys are going in the right direction. Best of luck. We'll see you next Tuesday when we go racing at the road course in Watkins Glen. So that is your P6 finisher tonight. One spot in front of him from 35th on the grid to P5. That's a 30 position gain for the driver of the number 8 car, Adam Gilliland, in P5 tonight. And Brian Macklin, you've caught up with him.
Yes, I have caught up with Adam Gilliland, and this is going to be my favorite interview to date. Adam, I'm going to just start off by saying we had an up and down night with you all night long following your race. At one point we saw you backwards on the back straightaway. Then we saw you leading the race because you stayed out on old tires. And then towards the end of the race you got fresh tires and had to work your way through a massive wave of cars and worked your way back up into the top 5. Talk about your night real quick.
Yeah, it was definitely eventful, you can say that. But you know me, Brian. I never do anything by the books. I always have to do stuff different. So we started somewhere like 35th. We didn't really get any long runs until like lap 80 or something, so we really didn't get to see what we had. We built the car for the long run. And unfortunately, the first part of that race, we kept getting heats, like little 6-lap sprints, and didn't really get to show what we had. So we got loose that one time off turn 2 and had to go to the back, but we recovered nicely. And fortunately, I didn't want a caution at the time with 8 or 9 to go, but made a last-second decision to come in and pit, slap on 4 tires, and I think if it had stayed green, we'd have had a shot to get Allen.
Yeah, and that was actually my next question. You just answered it before I got there. Had that race stayed green, you think you did have a shot at Allen? And of course, we saw several drivers behind you on fresh tires. Do you think you could have held those guys off?
Yeah, looking at it now, I did get really loose going into 1, and the caution was kind of a blessing to save me a few spots because I was getting passed by the 82 and the 51. But if I wouldn't have messed up going into 1 right as the caution came out, definitely would have been able to get to Allen. With this new build that came out a few months ago, and iRacing tires are so huge. I don't know if you guys saw it a few weeks ago at Texas when I slapped on 4 fresh tires and was flying through the field like a bat out of you know what. But no, tires are so huge, and I think we'd have been able to get to Allen, but it's a lot of foreshadowing. But I'm very happy with a 5th with how the season started. We started out with a 7th at Texas and then wrecked the last 2 weeks, so it's nice to get the wheels back on the tracks, per se.
Yeah, and we did enjoy watching you at Texas a few weeks back. That was probably the best part of that race, watching you duck and dive through the field on fresh tires, trying to make your way through up and back up to the front. Next time we see you guys in this Pro Series, it's going to be on a road course at Watkins Glen. What is your strategy for that race, and how do you anticipate your team doing in that race next week?
It's hard to say. I've had mixed success at Watkins Glen. Fortunately, though, I've only ran there once. I think I did get a top 10 in the Peak Series last year, but I was suspended this year in the Peak Series, so I didn't get to run. But kind of up or down on whether I have a good run or not on the road courses. But I know David Comstock, he's going to get started on the setup here for us in a couple days, and he's usually pretty good at making those road sets. So I know we got some good road ringers on our team. I'm probably not in that category, but Timmy and Trey and Warren can wheel, so hopefully we can get there next Tuesday and have similar success that we had tonight.
All right, Adam, and real quick before we let you go, going to give you a chance to say thank you to your sponsors and all of your teammates and any friends and family that might have been watching tonight.
Yeah, I got a long list, so here we go. I got to thank everyone at Aftermath Motorsports. Everyone's been pouring their heart and souls into working on getting us back to where we belong up front, and because we had a really rough patch in the Peak Series, so it's great to be able to get some results now. I also got to thank Brennan Mercer and Gary Mercer Trucking for sticking with me this long. We've had a lot of ups and downs, and fortunately, we're able to talk about them now, getting the top 5. I also got to thank DraftKings, Core Pipe, U-Haul, Tim's Corner, Toyota, Alpine Stars, TimmyHill.com, EJ Brakes, and H Media. And last but not least, you guys for putting on this broadcast.
All right, thank you, Adam. Congratulations on your top 5 finish tonight, and we hope that you can back that up next week at Watkins Glen. That was driver number 8, Gary Mercer, Trucking Chevrolet or Toyota Camry, Adam Gilliland. Now we are going to catch up with one of his teammates, driver number 82, Alex Warren. Cisco, I believe you've caught up with him.
Yeah, I've caught up with Alex Warren down here on pit road, and Alex, the Aftermath Motorsports Core Pipe Camry, it was on fire tonight. It's your first top 5 of the season. How was the car out there?
Well, honestly, I felt like we had a great car out there. We were mostly mid-pack through the majority of the race, so we didn't exactly know what the car would do with a cleaner air, but running the mid pack, and I felt the car was really good. And then at the before the second last caution, we had a run there had a good run there, and we were able to pass some cars. And then lo and behold, the caution came up. We decided to pit, took a gamble, and the gamble really paid off.
Well, it really did pay off. You finished 4th tonight, and talk about, we were seeing some crazy moves out there towards the end of the race, people dicing all over the place. Kind of talk about that racing. Could you ever really, kind of get into a rhythm, or was it just you had to keep looking out that mirror?
I mean, for me, it was, we were running sprints, and it was a rhythm for me to just keep going hard. And I would expect a yellow to come out just because of the trends, so I would just keep going as hard as I could. But there would be times where you'd have to check up for other people, making sure you wouldn't run over anyone else, and you just get off that rhythm. But rhythm was definitely important for me tonight, and just trying to, maintain my cool, because there were moments where I wasn't, very happy with the car, but you just had to keep cool and just stay focused, big picture, just keep your car clean, and you could have a really good finish, and that's what we did. But rhythm was very, very important tonight, at least for me.
All right, Alex, well, you finished P4, also helping out Club Illinois, putting us up towards the top of the board. Who else gets it done for you?
First of all, I just want to thank everyone on Aftermath Motorsports for, just sticking together and just working hard each and every week. Without them, I wouldn't, be here. And, we just work together as really great as a team. And, for all my sponsors, I can't really name them all off the top of my head. But, Corpipe being the primary sponsor, I know I can at least name that. And then Trey Eidson for paying me the beautiful scheme that was seen on the racetrack tonight was great. And for all my other sponsors, I want to say thank you for putting your faith in me and sticking around with me, each and every week. And, we're going to have, there'll be weeks where, like, a few weeks ago we just didn't have the good finishes, but I just know that, us as a team, we're capable of, top 5s, top 10s, and we were able to see that, finally, just being able to put a race together and, got the result to show for it. So, yeah, just want to thank everyone for putting their faith in me, and, we're on to the next one.
All right, well, that's Alex Warren. He finishes P4 tonight, and I believe, it's either Brian or Andy. I believe Andy has caught up with another one of our racers here.
That's right. I am down here on pit road with the driver of the Rafferty Designs Ford Fusion. That's Dylan Rafferty. Second place here tonight, Dylan. You got to be pretty excited about that after a pretty wild night here tonight.
Yeah, just couldn't go on the restart, so we finally got some green flag runs and made some headway. But that last yellow, it would have been interesting had it stayed green closing. I think we were closing about 10th and a half a lap, and there was about a second gap. It would have been close. Wish that stayed green, though.
Yeah, you talk about wish it stayed green. We had one good long stint of green flag racing, about 20 laps or so, and you seemed to be the quickest car on the track on that long green flag run. You were really starting to mow these guys down, got yourself up into that second position. You talk about you were catching the leader. Caution comes out, though. Talk about the strategy on that last pit stop there. The top 10 ended up staying out. How hard was that for you, or were you guys really contemplating coming down pit road and getting those fresh tires?
Nah, it was kind of a gamble. Half of us were thinking one way, half of us thinking the other way. But after what happened to Homestead running top 5 and end up with a P19 after late race yellows, I was like, we'll just stay out here and see what happens.
Well, you made the right call, especially with the amount of laps that were left. You had to have known there was going to be some wild racing behind you. That's exactly what happened. Ended up ending this one under caution here tonight. It's been an up and down season so far with you. The only good part about that, it's put you up into the top 3 in points now unofficially after this race here. So even though with a couple mid-pack finishes, you got to be pretty excited with these 2 top 5s.
Yeah, we started the season off quite a bit on the long run, but we've done a lot of looking into why that is, and I gotta give a shout out to Joel Petty. Him and myself have put a lot of effort in trying to figure out why we're off, trying to catch Dead Zone, trying to catch Team HPM, just trying to catch them guys. And we might have done it. Hopefully, keep it going. And one last guy, I got the main person. Well, I gotta thank Trent Brown for his field strategy, and then everyone else at TRG for the support.
Well, we've ran 4 races now. We're just about with the drop week, about halfway through the season. Next week, we get to switch everything up, and now we get to turn right and left. Talk about your team, your strategy, if the road course at Watkins Glen is something you're looking forward to, or if you're looking just to survive.
Well, if it was Sonoma, I would be like, all game, let's go. But the Glen is not really much. There's not really much you can do, so it's just try to survive.
Well, trying to survive is hopefully what you can do and maintain your spot up here in the top of the point standings. Second place finish here tonight. Runner-up, 1 spot away from that elusive victory on the season for you. Sponsor shout-outs. Who do you want to give thanks to here tonight?
Well, I currently have no sponsors, so I'll just shout out myself, Rafferty Designs.
Well, there you have it. Congratulations again on the second place finish here tonight. Good luck next week at the Glen.
Thank you.
There you have it. Second place finisher on the night, the 46 of Dylan Rafferty. And Evan has caught up with our big winner here this week, the 21 of Alan Bowes.
And we said the statistics at the end, and we'll say them again. It is his 4th consecutive top 5 on the season, and in 14 career starts, it's his 7th top 5. But his first career NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series win, Alan Bowes victorious at the AutoClub Speedway. Caught up with him now down in the virtual victory lane. Alan, first off, I'll just let you talk for a little bit. Congratulations.
Oh, man, thank you. That was a pretty good race. We kind of surprised ourselves a little bit with the speed that we came out with in qualifying, starting up towards the front, putting 3 of our guys up in the top 5 and 4 in the top 10. But man, what a race! That was awesome. Leading 53 laps. It felt good to be back out front, and it feels really good to get that win.
And there was a lot of guys that were up there with you throughout this race, and a couple of them ended up falling by the wayside at the end of it. A lot of restarts early. That last one, I'm sure, made your heart jump a little bit after you were well out in front. You elected to not come down to the pit lane and stayed out. That ended up being the winning pit call. How much on the border were you on that one?
Oh, well, we were really debating. We were talking with Clampett there at the end, seeing what he was thinking about doing, and we came to the conclusion that, we just needed to take a risk and stay out, and luckily the majority of the guys behind us followed us, so, that if it wasn't for that, it would have been a completely different finish, but, the guys over at Dead Zone, we put a lot of work into it this week, and, thankfully the result showed, and, I couldn't ask for a much better team. These guys, for the amount of work that we put into it, we're one of the best on the sim.
And what we've been talking about is the fact that we go to Watkins Glen next week. That's the first 5 races out of the way. Then we have these next 4 that would remain with a couple of off weeks in between. However, we've been talking drop weeks. 1 race is dropped in the opening 7. So far for you, your worst finish is a P3. It was a third, and then the win here tonight. What does that say to everybody about the speed that not only you, but as well that team has been carrying, because you have a dominant lead in the points as of now?
Oh, I mean, it just shows that we can be consistent. If we don't have the fastest car, kind of like we did at Homestead, I mean, we can still make that strategy call to get the position that we need to finish well. And perseverance is what I like to say. We've really persevered through a really hard Pro Series the first time around, and then through the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, we really struggled just trying to find speed and luck, and, it's finally coming around to where we're getting the good side of things.
Laughlin was talking about how this build allows everybody to be on such an equal playing field. Well, you're eating all of that up at a extremely dominant start to this 2015-2016 campaign. We look forward now to round number 5, and I'm sure you'll take these next 6 days to enjoy this first Pro Series victory as you should, but have to talk about round 5, where we go back on the road side of things to the Watkins Glen Road Course. You got a P3 there last season. Can you get another strong run this year?
Oh, I definitely think so. I've always looked at Watkins Glen as one of my best tracks as far as on the Cup side of things. So, I'm just, that was the one race that I was really marking on my calendar is we got to go win this. It would mean a lot to me to be able to redeem myself from last year, where I think that I had the car to at least keep up with Timu. But that's my main goal for next week, is just go out there and fight as hard as I can to get a win, another one.
And that'll be the objective next Tuesday night, Alan. I'm sure you guys want to get back to the team but enjoy this one, so we'll let you go. Before we do, though, the sponsors, the shout-outs, everybody not only that supports you in this series and as they have in the Peak Series and as well Pro last year, but through your entire sim racing career, a lot builds up to this point. Who do you want to thank?
Well, first off, I got to thank Dead Zone Racing, everybody on there. Dustin Lingert, he put in a lot of work. Gave me a really comfortable setup, and Ian Plash, he did a really good job spotting tonight. Gave me a lot of information on where everybody was and how I stacked up as far as times went. Houston Hamer, he put in a lot of work in qualifying, which is one of the reasons why we were so fast in queue. I got to thank my other teammates, Blake Bryant, Jeff Ramsdell, Shane Doherty, Ryan Lowe, Logan Clampett, Brandon Hoff. They all had decent runs tonight. Unfortunately, some of them couldn't quite find the luck that we were able to find tonight, and I'm really hoping that for them that it kind of gets a little bit turned around, because they really they're going to need it. Got to thank my sponsors, Drac and Tech, RAR Chevette, and Checker Flag Interactive.
Alan, thanks for sticking around and chat with us. I know we made you wait a little bit. Get back to the team and enjoy this again on behalf of everybody here at LSRTV. Congratulations, a well-deserved one, and we'll see if you guys can keep on rolling at Watkins Glen. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Yep, thanks.
Bose gets the job done. Fourth straight top 5 on the year, but his first career NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series win. It's a big one for the driver of the number 21 Toyota. Let's take a look at your full race results from tonight's Fontana 200. Alan Bose, your winner after starting from 9th, and Dylan Rafferty, who goes from 7th on the grid to come home in 2nd. Other than that, nobody started better than 14th all the way through 16th position tonight. Team Even comes home in 3rd tonight. Alex Warren 4th, and Adam Gilliland would round out your top 5.
Tyler Laughlin, who we talked to, came home 6th tonight. 7th was Brandon Schmidt. Thomas Davis came home 8th. 9th went to Logan Clampett, and Byron Daly rounded out the top 10.
Trey Eidson's going to come home 11th. 12th to Justin Trombley. Greg McKinney goes to 13th. Stephen Gilbert put him in P14, and Mitchell Hunt going to come home 15th.
Ryan Borges in 16th position tonight. Blake Bryant in 17th. Michael J. Johnson 18th. 19th for Cody Bias, and Shane Doherty in 20th.
21st went to Jeff Ramsdale. Brad Davies finished 22nd. 23rd to Nick Furler. Nicholas Johnston finished 24th. And 25th went to Dylan Duvall.
Ryan Lowe's going to come home 26th. Andrew Fayash is going to finish 27th. Sasha Wessler is going to finish 28th. Robin Williams goes to 29th. And Paul Kashiba finishes 30th.
31st, Timmy Hill. These drivers from here on out finish this one behind the wall now. 32nd, Joey Israelson, Brandon Hoff in 33rd. 34th to Dylan C. Jones at a P35 for the 40 of Joshua Lawton.
36 went to Alex Scribner. Kyle Putz finished 37th. 38th went to Josh Berry. David Rattler finished 39th. 40 went to Billy Price. Jason Jacoby finished 41st. 42nd was Rob Ackley. And Jacob Harberts finished 43rd.
And with that, that rounds out your 43-car field from the AutoClub Speedway, guys. Going to put this run in the books now. 4 races down and 5 to go in the 2015-2016 Pro campaign. Take a look at our updated LSRTV Fantasy. Well, Jacob did good. Andy, so did you. You guys both chose Alan Bose to win this one, and it comes to fruition. So that helps you out. My pick, Dylan Duvall, did not do as good, so I'm down at the bottom with, I think, just 89 total points. You're up there with 117, as well as with our driver lands. Jacob, though, he's still beating on us with 166. He knows something or two about this series.
He's beginner's luck. That's what he's got.
So Jacob's got the best out of all of us with 166. Brian Backlund, Cisco Scaramouza, Andy Kessler, Justin, and then myself in our fantasy picks. If you're not on the iRacing forums, you can go and make your picks there also and be a part of all of this. And again, thanks for everybody for using the hashtag LSRTV. Before we step away, Cisco, to put this one in the books, What was it like down there on the pit lane?
It was definitely hectic. We had a couple times there where strategy really came into play. You know, a couple people taking 2 tires, and we definitely saw in that last restart, the people who took 4, they were in the catbird scene. Maybe if the race had gone green, they might have been able to have something for the leaders. But it's all going to change next week because we have to deal with right-hand turns next week.
And Brian Servanes, driver analyst, with us tonight. This race saw a lot that these drivers weren't ready for. It saw multiple grooves, it saw a lot of cautions, it saw some carnage and some late race restarts. A little bit of everything that tested Alan Bowes for this one.
Yeah, this was a night full of a bunch of surprises for me. I actually expected this race to stay green flag for a long time. This is a very wide racetrack. I expected these guys to get spread out and have a lot of long green flag runs. I was very surprised at the number of cautions that we saw tonight. And then once they started having those cautions, the drivers felt that they needed to get as much as they could on the restarts because they knew there was going to be another caution. So it just made the aggression level go a lot higher, and it made these guys race a lot harder. It was a very surprising race for me, and next week's going to be really interesting when they head to Watkins Glen. That's going to be a completely different beast, and it's going to be very interesting to see what road ringers we have in this Pro Series that are able to come to the front and be the front runners next week. I'm really excited to see that.
Emu Eviden comes home third tonight, Andy. He's going to be a favorite, I'm sure, to go back there and win that one. Alan Bowes wins tonight. He finished third there last year. Watkins Glen next week for round 5 before we get an off week in the first break in these runs of 9 races. Going to get the first 5 out of the way quickly, and then that risk of hitting those drop weeks coming into effect comes up very quickly, but Watkins Glen should be a fun one.
It's going to separate a lot of these guys, I think, Evan, and who's here for the to battle for the championship, and who's just maybe here to just get in that top 20 for next season's Peak Series. So, it's one of those ones that probably a lot of guys don't spend a lot of time on the sets. Maybe it's one of those they, as long as they've had a good first 4 starts to the season, maybe they don't spend a lot of time on it, and they come out, see what can happen, and maybe use it as their drop week. But, I mean, personally, I think you got to come to each one of these races ready to go, ready to put out your best, because you never know what can happen in any of these races as far as a wreck comes. So I wouldn't want to mark one on my calendar as being my drop week without running it yet, because some of these guys might have to use it on an oval where they're typically good at. So it's going to be fun to watch either way. No cautions. That's going to be a huge thing too. So it's going to be a lot of just, keeping it on the track and then playing some fuel strategy games. And, if they're going to make it on 2 stops, 3 stops, it's going to be something to watch. It's going to be fun.
And in order to qualify for this series, you come in through the Class A series and the NIS through all of that. If you're doing that, that means you've taken the oval route on the sim. You can go oval or road. Those are 2 very different paths. Well, we're going to test the best of the best on the ovals on Watkins Glen International next Tuesday night on LSRTV. Until then, the Fontana 200 is in the books. 4 races down and 5 to go. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and on behalf of the entire LSRTV team, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Justin Rosenau, Brian Macklin, Cisco Scarmouza, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson. Congratulations, Alan Bowes, your winner in Fontana, and we bid you good night from the AutoClub Speedway. We'll see you at Watkins Glen next Tuesday on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.